just so maybe the weaker in our society. And then all of a sudden, we're going to throw fuel in the fire. If I did a survey here, I believe most of you will raise our hands that we're Christians. And this body of counsel, and I've been coming up here regularly for over 26 years and even longer when I was in my early teens and was trying to support our late Mayor John Hancock. Only came a few times, but each time I've come up here, the majority of the time, I have more probably than anybody else, have endorsed, applauded, and celebrated this council that we have here, and I will continue to do that. But I am so sadly grieved and disappointed more than any other time. Some things I just keep silent with, whether I agree with you or not, because I support you guys. And so I heard someone say a few weeks ago that liquor stores don't make that much money. Well, I'm not in the liquor store business, but I do know enough about business that if you're in business, you're in it to make a profit, and you're in it to make money. And if not, why do you see there's a necessity to have one on that side of town? I just asked you to do the right thing and stand by your bootstraps of what you had already voted upon. God bless you all.
Debbie Upchurch, 332 Tulip Circle. I'm reading again. The last vote was there were some abstentions regarding certificate of compliance, not liquor license, just certificate of compliance, which is my understanding that it means you're just meeting the needs to own a business at a certain location. So I'm not trying to talk about one certain person, but for Cam, it seems like it was a personal attack against him because y'all abstained against him getting the certificate of compliance. I might be misunderstanding it, but it just seemed personal to me because he had previously been trying to get the distance withdrawn or reduced. He met all the requirements for the new location, so I'm asking that y'all approve his certificate of compliance. Again, I asked y'all reconsider reducing the mile to half mile, or make it apply to all businesses, that any business can't be next to another business or within a 1 mile. That includes beer, cigarettes, car dealerships, shoe stores, insurance companies. If you got an insurance company over here, you can't have one within a mile. It's all about business. It should be fair everywhere, not what the product is. It should be equal for all types of businesses. Y'all voted to reduce the distance, and then you changed it 2 weeks later. Some aldermen implied it was for religious reasons. Were they not saved the previous 2 weeks when they voted for the reduction of the miles? And then all of a sudden they got saved and they all of a sudden became religious? That's not supposed to determine your vote. Lastly, it seems there was some kind of misunderstanding with Cam and Sean. I know they've been friends for years, and I saw it really upset Cam, and then it was talked about on public forums, and I'm glad they were able to talk and work things out. Cam is a good person and a businessman who's just trying to provide for his family. He's got one kid in college, another one starting medical school. He needs approval to be able to run stores and businesses here in Gallatin. This is his hometown. He's been here over 20 years. He also provides jobs to local Gallatin citizens that y'all represent. This, I did not intend for this to be about one certain person, Cam or anybody, but this is about fair business, so please vote fairly. Thank you.
Thank you. And not directed at you, Ms. Upchurch, but just in general, I failed to remind people not to mention individuals. It's not a terrible thing when you're saying something positively about someone, but would be very careful when you're saying something negative about someone. You can often refer to them as business owner or a council member or whatever it is you desire.
Hi, good evening. I did some petition on everybody's desk, and sometimes it's hard to understand me, so I
Name
put.
and address for the record.
Yes,
Speaking
so-
of names,
Okay.
your name and address.
My name is Kamlesh Patel, 421 Woodlands Drive, Gallatin, Tennessee. I left everyone one piece of paper, what I'm gonna say today, you know? So if you guys don't understand, please read it. Okay. Good evening, my name is Cam Patel. I live at 421 Woodlands Drive, Gallatin, Tennessee. Last week, I attended the meeting and mentioned it that Mr. Sanfinal was threatening me unfairly. I want to sincerely apologize for that statement. It was misunderstanding between Mr. Fennell and me. When he said something, I misunderstood it. There was no issue between us, and we have since cleared up the misunderstanding. However, Mr. Pascal took that issue that wrong way and posted about it on his Facebook page. I want to make it clear that no one forced me to speak. I did so on my own. Some people made good comment on the post, and some people made bad ones. I have respectfully requested Mr. Pascal 3 times throughout the Facebook message and comment to please remove the post. He has not done so. Once again, I am asking Mr. Pascal, please remove the
Let's
post.
not use names again. I'm sorry, Mr. Patel.
Okay, I'm sorry. From the post from the Facebook page. Now regarding the other issue, in September, City Council approved the amendment related to the liquor store spacing requirement, half-mile distance between 2 liquor stores. The vote passed 4-1. Later, one of the council member deferred that amendment and suggested reducing the distance 0. About the week later, he changed his position again, stating that would not support it due to pressure from the pastor and church involvement. I have a petition signed by a local citizen from the District 5 requesting that distance requirement be reduced from the 1 mile to half mile. I respectfully ask that this matter be brought back from this decision in the next City Council agenda. I also want to respectfully request the council keep religious and politics separate. Please reconsider the amendment that was already approved, the half-mile distance between the liquor store. This issue important not only to me, but to many new business owners who are trying to invest and grow in Gallatin. Thank you.
Brandon Howell, 345 Howell Road, Westmoreland, Tennessee. Mayor and council, I stand before you tonight as a candidate for the building official's job for the city of Gallatin. I stand before you with a great interest and desire to be the next building official for the city of Gallatin. I have a long-standing working relationship within the city of Gallatin. This began many years ago in the early 1990s, working for the Parks Department as a part-time custodian and different things in the Parks Department, which led to being a full-time city employee as a groundskeeper in 1997. I've been a classified city employee in some capacity since that time, except for about 7 months in 2018. I left the fire department and came back, and I'm currently the assistant director of the Gallatin Building Codes, chief commercial planning reviewer, certified fire marshal and fire inspector, and also have obtained a fire science degree. I have a great desire to be the next building official. I've had a great desire to be the next building official for several years, and I believe my experience and my certifications exceed the minimum qualifications for this position. I've been, for many years, I've been trying my very best to obtain all the certifications that is necessary. At 42 years old, I never thought myself would go back to school, but I went back to school and obtained my degree and pushed forward. I've had several great bosses and influences from the city that have pushed me to do all these things. All that being said, I've got a great group of people that I work with. They've been great. They've done a wonderful job I've loved being a part of the codes department. And I just want to continue that. I want to be here. I want to be the leader that you all want us to be. I don't want a lot of things to change in the department. I want us to keep pushing forward to help the community and to be able to see us go out there and not be a department that says we got to do it this way, but we do that to help them, help the community, and to help this city and to grow in a way that would be beneficial to everyone. I hope and pray that you'll consider that, and when it comes time to vote for that, I hope you would consider me. Thank you.
Anyone else? Ah, there comes Ms. Harden. Good to see your face.
Yeah. Mayor and council members, my name's Judy Harden. My address is 1116 Roundtree Drive, and I'm here on behalf of our neighbors of Roundtree Drive. We have much concern about the proposal of annexation of the property at the end of Roundtree Drive in Brights Lane. In a perfect world, we would hope that would either go into a preservation of land or at least require a minimum land size for homes of 1 acre to 2 acres, because the minimum acreage now of a home there is 3 acres. But having said that, every property owner has the right to do as they wish within reason to their property. So we would hope that if in fact it's annexed, and we have heard through the grapevine that it may be requested that it be changed, rezoned to industrial, we would like, I mean, there's a lot of unknowns. What type of industry? Are the utilities that are there now that have been put in place recently for Meta, Facebook, whatever, are they going to be sufficient enough for what is planned to go in there? If they know what is planned to go in there. And the question, the main question I have is, I don't believe that property is contiguous to the city. I have spoken to this about this to Andy Leith, and he's saying that there is a little sliver of land on the other side of Brights Lane that creates this. But I'm going to tell you, with the history that I know about Roundtree and Brights Lane, when Mr. Gregory purchased that property, he gave a right-of-way for Roundtree Drive to be built out to Brights Lane. And with that right-of-way deed, he also granted 25-foot right-of-way on Brights Lane. And at that point, there was a deed presented. The county at that time did not record deeds because they were given documents, they were given right-of-way on documents that were not in a deed format. So you couldn't always record the documents. But anyway, there was a plat and there was a deed. And the county actually built, the county highway department actually built Roundtree from where shy of one lot of where the house is in now to Brights Lane. It was built under Mr. Hackett. And so when it did that, when that occurred, that made a true corner on that northwest corner of Mr. Gregory's property. So that's what leads me to believe that it's not contiguous. But if in fact that it's deemed that it is, we would like to have some things put in place. We would like to see that where the residential area of Roundtree ends, and once that road is annexed as the city road, that a cul-de-sac is built there and the remainder of that road that goes out to Bright's Lane becomes private, is no longer used. I mean, we would have no need to use that road. I mean, we do all cut down through that way, but if it's gonna have a lot of industry traffic, construction traffic, things of that nature, they can go out through the road that supposedly will be built out beside of Meta through the industrial park. Also, I'm sorry, lost my train of thought. Some active buffers put in place. And a buffer is like when you have a residential guidelines and restrictions. If you don't have them enforced, they're not worth the paper they're written on. So we'd like to have some active buffers and buffers that are maintained long-term.
Pardon, that is your time. but
All right, I'm
gonna,
sorry.
Give the
But we
body,
will be back.
I'm gonna give the body an opportunity because,
I'll make a motion to let her, second.
okay, motion is second, all in favor, say aye. Oppose, continue.
I'm almost
But
finished.
be brief.
Okay, I will be brief. And so with a decent active buffer, and then also the other main concern is blasting and the effects of blasting. And with construction comes blasting, and it doesn't always show up next month after. So we would like to see some things put in place for those. And appreciate your time, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harden. Anyone else wishing to speak under public comment this evening, I'd welcome you forward.
Joshua Pierman, 110 or 1110 Roundtree Drive. I'm going to briefly speak for a bunch of us back here, just kind of going off of what Judy said. We're concerned about our neighborhood. We all moved there because we're close to everything, but feels like we're away from everything. My property backs right up to the Beretta Industrial Complex, but all I can see are trees. The possibility of that changing and us being in an industrial zone surrounded by industry, quite frankly, frightens all of us. What happens to our property values, our way of life. I cut through Brights Lane over to 25 to drive to Lebanon every day to work. I would hate to have to go out a different way, but I would do that to preserve the Roundtree community. We're probably the newest, maybe the second newest family on that property, but it's home. A lot of these folks have been there for years and years and years. We bought Judy's mom's house. So we just ask that you consider that. I don't understand why we have to turn agricultural property into industrial property. It doesn't seem to fit with the greater Nashville metro area. There's still vacant property in the existing industrial park right behind my house. Why do we have to change that? Residential seems like a much better fit for the area. I'm not a planner, but that's just kind of the way I see it. So thank you for your time, and definitely appreciate your consideration of the request that Judy's asked.
I'm Mark Wall. I'm at 1124 Roundtree Drive, and I just want to bounce off of what they've said. We're the newest ones out there, but we moved there. We searched for a house in Gallatin. We found the peace and quiet that we was after. And then this kind of gets thrown up that you fixing to have more industrial around you. We did not want around the townhomes. We didn't want around businesses all the way. We're from the country, and that's kind of the way we feel that we're out there. I just wanted to put my input that I agree with what they're saying. If this goes through, that there needs to be some restrictions put in place. Thank you.
Anyone else while public recognition is still open?
Rosemary Bates with the Economic Development Agency right across the hall here in City Hall. I appreciate them coming, the folks from Roundtree coming up and sharing their concerns with you. I shared with Councilman Alexander earlier that the conversation that we have had with the property owner who is asking to be annexed, from the beginning, my concern has been, one, protecting the residents on Roundtree. I know some people may use Roundtree over to Browns Lane, but we have contemplated
Not
that.
Browns Lane.
Brights Lane, excuse me, from Roundtree over to Brights Lane. Some people use it to go very fast and jump a little bump there and leave their skid marks. But I do think that that neighborhood definitely needs to be protected. I've shared that with a person asking for the annexation. If it means that there's more buffering of evergreens or anything like that along the Roundtree properties, I do agree that probably Roundtree should have a cul-de-sac. We have had a conversation very preliminarily about extending Gateway Drive north between Beretta. Well, it would be on Beretta and Meta property. They would have to agree to it. But taking that to Roundtree, Roundtree would then become basically a driveway into another part of that property if you do annex it, if you do zone it industrial. I would not recommend that you zone it anything but industrial. I don't think that if it's in the city that it should be anywhere near residential, because the impact of that, from my 10 years of doing this work, the impact of industrial is far less than the impact of residential, which is 24/7, no schedule of when those cars are coming and going, a lot more light pollution, a lot more taxing to your infrastructure than even industrial is. I hear their concerns. They're very valid, and I would hope, like them, that the city does everything it can to protect that neighborhood. I will agree with Judy, Ms. Harden, that it is the desire of the property owner to be annexed and then rezoned to industrial, which he has every right to ask. And there are ways to put that property into perpetual agricultural, but either the city has to buy it all, or it has to be donated to a conservatorship for land, or someone has to buy it and put it into a conservatorship for land. Right now, property is at a premium and it's very expensive, and I don't see either of those three things happening with the current owner. That's his desire is to sell it. So I just wanted you to know that we've already been talking about what we can do to minimize the impact and buffer and create a situation that makes it a separate development with as little impact as possible. And I just have not had an opportunity to say that yet in this process. And since they were here tonight and brought it up, I wanted to reiterate, we hear them, we agree with many of their concerns. I am here to support the annexation and ultimately the rezoning to industrial, and nothing but industrial restricted, or whatever it will be called under the new zoning code. I do have one more thing. Planning Commissioner C.J. Morrell called me before the meeting, said he could not be here tonight, but asked me to pass along that he is not in favor of a halt on rezoning, because you can vote down a rezoning at any time. You don't need a halt or moratorium or whatever you might call it. He was very vocal at the Planning Commission meetings. I am simply sharing what he asked me to share with you since he couldn't be here tonight. I don't know if he had talked to Brian or not, or what the situation was, but there's just a little bit ago. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Bates. Okay, last call if anyone wants to speak under public recognition. No one is springing to their feet. Public recognition is closed. We'll move to mayor's comments. I have a few things this evening. I'll start just with heavy compliments of the Stoll event last weekend. I don't know if anyone was able to attend. I certainly had a great opportunity too, and I want to say a big thank you to our police department, our fire department, particularly our public works department, Jenna Landstrom and EDA, who lent support throughout the entire weekend. I had no idea some of the things that Ms. Landstrom had created as kind of an event experience associated with both the concert and the Stoll event, but I was impressed. Okay, Vice Mayor Hayes. No, I'm kidding. But they really did a tremendous job. And then beyond that, my compliments to Chad Hall, who is so passionate about this, who started this event here in Gallatin, who really has a vision for its future. Just to give you an idea, I would say the crowd this year was probably 4 times what it was last year. And actually was able to talk to a lot of people who were at the competition on Saturday who knew nothing about airplanes or Stoll or whatever, and they actually came because they had come to the concert the night before and had such a good time. And so I thought that was interesting. And then along with Chad Hall as the chief planner, organizer, passion fellow behind the project, he has a great team that he works with, and a lot of volunteers, and then, of course, the pilots who came and competed, some of them local, and all the people who paid to come out there and support the event. It truly was grand, and I got to talk to the national Stoll people briefly, and they were loving it. They were so pleased with the turnout that was there. Of course, the great weather helped it be a better day and a better night before and day, but it certainly was a great event. Upcoming events that I do want to mention for you all on, let's see, tomorrow, a blood drive at the Civic Center, 11 to 4, as it usually is. Coming up on Friday, Mr. Chuck Stewart's retirement party. It's going to be such a sad day, but I hope you'll come. And if you've had the opportunity to know him or work with him, I know you're going to want to drop by and wish him well. 11 a.m. on Friday. They are also having that Friday at Charter Living a dessert fest, as they do each year about this time. And I think you go out there, you pay a ticket for a good cause, and then you vote on your favorite dessert that they do. David Brown's birthday is on the 18th. Talking about Saturday, we do have the Vintage Market downtown. That's going to be a good event from 10 until 3. Miracle League is playing out at the Miracle Park. Walk Across Sumner is happening. The Death Comes to Rosemont event is happening at 6. The police department is probably working more events and demonstrations this Saturday than they have ever worked before. And we've reached out to the county to let them know that we really do need support this weekend. So I expect all of us to do our best to help our Gallatin Police Department not to have to respond to any domestics or all the problematic calls, because you're going to have plenty to do. On the 21st, Rosemary Bates' birthday, the chili lunch at Smith Schiller Milliken. The Red Cross Blood Drive happens again on the 21st at the Civic Center. Coming up on the 22nd, it's open enrollment and the Employee Health Fair. Courtney really talked it up today in the department heads. I think she's going to have the food trucks there midday, the biometric screenings, vaccinations if people want them, that kind of stuff. And, of course, enrolling for your benefits. The 23rd, you all had the Sumner County Council of Government scheduled. It has been postponed. I don't remember the date to which it's been postponed.
November 19th.
Thank you, Councilman Carter. Thank you. Yeah, we had quite the time finding a date. Apparently, there was a lot going on in Hendersonville that conflicted. So that will be happening on the 19th of November. And then on the 24th, the Good Morning Gallatin State Treasury update with David Lillard from the state. Always interesting to hear from him. That happens at 7:30. Reminder that reservations are required. The 25th is the Battle of the Badges at Liberty Creek High School. That is police and fire, and it's always a fun day with a bunch of different departments competing in basketball. The Halloween Harvest Market happens at the Gallatin Farmers Market on the 25th. Another great Miracle League game. Boo Bash at Historic Rosemont is happening. An antique car and classic car show at the Civic Center. And then on that Monday is the United Way Scramble and the Mayor's State of the City address at Northfield. It is, I understand, sold out, but if there was someone that still wanted to go, they could certainly put you on a wait list to see if anyone had to cancel. And then everybody's favorite event, the Trick or Treat on the Squares from 10 until 2 on the 31st. And so we will look forward to that. That's going to conclude my comments, and we're going to move on to the regular agenda. And the first
Excuse me, Mayor. I would like to make a motion to move item number 18 to the top because I think the candidates are probably watching online or are present, and it's kind of important and for them instead of having them to wait for 2+ hours. So make a motion to move item 18 to number 1.
Motion,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Hayes. Any questions, discussion, thoughts on it? I'll just say we do have a lot of people here for some other things, but I'm happy to move it forward if y'all desire. So all in favor of moving forward, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, surprise, surprise. Item 18 just become item 1. Ms. Kenjimmy, I welcome you to the podium.
I thought I had a reprieve for a little while, but no. Good evening, council. So we did
Hey, you
have,
might could leave early.
I'm okay with that. I didn't even ask for it. That's the best part. So I did put on each of your stations a packet and a single paper. So as we discuss candidates this evening, if you could please just refer to them as candidates 1, 2, or 3, no names. There is a key on your singular paper that tells you which candidate is which number. Everybody got that?
Yes, ma'am.
Have 2 pages. One has the candidates that has the key that tells you which one is 1, 2, and 3, and kind of a summary of what the committee assessed. And then the scoring is the stapled together pages. And so,
So, the resolution is to consider the various candidates in the order that they are recommended, which is laid out there. But MTAS did do the assessment. Specifically in their scoring packet, they say they don't make a recommendation, but it is to be used as part of a larger consideration. The panel assessed based on conceptual ability, motivation to achieve, work habits, interpersonal skills, and management skills. All of those are defined in that color packet. So just so you can see what all of those definitions were. Based on the panel's assessment, I did list for you the candidate scores. They were mostly very close. Now, Councilman Giovanni, you raised your hand. I didn't know if you,
No,
oh, you got it, okay.
Just waiting for you.
So in order to keep with the way that our rules are written, I believe that we should consider candidate number 2 first, based on their score. That is kind of to this body. Candidates 2 and another candidate were very close in scoring, so.
the will of the
So,
body.
at the last meeting, when you put the change of rules, I mentioned exactly that scenario, and I got told that didn't matter. So, not that didn't matter, but
Okay.
we could choose. We didn't have to go through.
Do we want to consider them in order of scoring, according to the way that that's written? You don't have to take the first person, and you can choose not to. The body can choose not to accept that top score as the candidate to go with.
Yeah. I think everybody know where I stand. I'm for pushing people up. So I understand what you just said, but of what I got told last week, I'm the nominate candidate number 3 to be considered as the building, electrical, fire, and gas code official.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Giovanni, a second by Vice Mayor Hayes. And you all are both cool with that. I think it's appropriate. They see everything
I
here.
agree.
They've made a motion.
Correct.
And we can move forward. Okay, now that opens the floor for discussion and questions.
I think it's a good choice. I like internal promotion,
Mike,
and I think he meets
Councilman Van,
Van.
Mike.
over. I think candidate number 3 is a good choice. He's internal. He's done the necessary work. And I think internal is important. I think it shows an example that if you work hard and you can move up in the city.
It looks like their scores were awful close.
They are.
I mean,
They are very
all of them.
close.
So, yeah, it's not like we're taking somebody that was just way at the bottom.
Correct.
You know,
I think there are benefits, you know, one candidate might be much stronger in one piece and another
He was
candidate
higher on
stronger in
some
another.
things, yeah, so it's
I think they were
a good fit.
They were three great candidates.
fit.
Interview both free. They were great people. But again, you know where I stand. I'm for pushing people from inside. So I think that's the right choice for us.
I also was impressed in the interviews. I left the interviews thinking there's really not a bad choice here. And so kudos to you and your team or whoever put that together, Courtney. That was, I like leaving like that, where it's like, you know, I think all these guys are good. And I also promote from within is important to me. So that would be the edge for me. But yeah, good job by your team.
Thank you.
So I'd like to say, at the last minute, my colleague was out and I was asked to work to provide coverage for our young people, so I wasn't able to be a part of the interviews. But I had really high hopes for candidate number 3 and was really pushing for this person and hoping that they did have great interviews. So I'm glad to, one, support Councilman Juvance's nomination or recommendation, and I am glad to hear that the interviews went well with this candidate from Councilman Alexander. So I'm excited about what's to come for us and for that department.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead.
I've known him probably for 35 years. Everything we've asked him to do, he's done. And I think with his personality and type of work ethics he's got, I think he's a good representative for the city of Gallatin. I agree with Councilman Javance and Alexander. I didn't have to interview him. I already knew what my mind was made up to be.
Paige, I like to see that. I mean, it says volumes for the guy. And I mean, he moved up from the park department and moved up, you know, and that says other thing for other employees to work hard and, you know, put your heart out there, and it helps you. You know, it just pays off.
One thing I do want to note is that the assessment panel, who are all external, you know, experts in the field, gave some very good kudos to the city as a whole and that department specifically based on their internal development practices. You know, so having 2 people who had been part of that department and showing such a great knowledge base and skill set was impressive to external experts in the field.
I do think you look at what the expert panel evaluated with the conceptual ability, the motivation to achieve, the work habits, the interpersonal skill, the management skill. What they don't know is the internal, you know, relationships and dynamics and whether a department is thriving or struggling and what those relationships look like and what the opportunities are to, you know, kind of further that trajectory or challenges that need to be overcome. And that's where this body is very, very important in making those good decisions for the city. So we have a motion, a second. Anybody else need to say anything? All in favor of moving forward candidate number 3, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. A unanimous support of candidate number 3. Would I then be okay to name that candidate? Mr. Brandon Howell. All righty, that's a nice way to start the meeting. Thank you. Moving now to, I'm going to go by the numbers that are on here. I'm not renumbering all 20 items. So,
Be on next week's agenda.
yes, that will be on the next week's agenda. I said moving forward when I asked for the vote. We'll go back to item number 1 is numbered on the agenda, which is the information request on Tennessee Infrastructure Development Districts. Ms. Bates, Director of EDA, to introduce the experts.
Thank you. The last time we were here talking about infrastructure development districts, you asked for more information, particularly what is happening in Tennessee. I do have someone here who's going to talk about how the state arrived where it is with IDDs. Also, in checking on what's happening with IDDs, there are 4 communities in the state of Tennessee that have either received applications for an IDD or have approved the applications for an IDD. None of those entities, those cities or counties, none of those IDDs has reached the point of actually borrowing the money. None of them are under construction. they're all early in the process. Also, 2 of those communities have some sort of policy. I'm going to let our guests talk about that. And then one of them is struggling with their policy. And so it's so new that it hasn't had a full-out run of a project yet in the state of Tennessee. What I put on your desk is our office has had 2 different meetings with people, one gentleman from Texas and one from Florida. And the gentleman from Florida just shared some background information on those 2 states with a closing remark about a suggestion he has for Tennessee under the bullet point administration-Tennessee. You can read that at your leisure. And then the next piece of set of paper I have is what our guest is going to talk about tonight. And I'd like to introduce you to, come on up, Rachel, thank you, to Rachel Blackhurst. She is the Director of Government Affairs for NAIOP. If she wants to explain to you what that stands for, she can, but the name NAIOP and what it stands for is a little different from what they actually do. Is my understanding. So I'd like for you to welcome Rachel Blackhurst, and she will share with you more information, hopefully that you asked for, and if not, we'll bring you more next time. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks so much, Rosemary. Like she said, I'm Rachel Blackhurst. I'm the Director of Government Affairs for NAIOP, which I actually have to tell you, NAIOP stands for nothing. Legitimately nothing, but we are the Commercial Real Estate Development Association here in Tennessee. Thank you so much, Rosemary, for inviting me to speak tonight. Madam Mayor, Council, excited to share our industry's excitement about this tool and try and emphasize that we are really hoping that this is an ultimate public-private partnership tool. And that is our goal. We've brought this to the state, probably first started educating folks about 3 years ago on this tool, and brought this bill to the state just last year in 2025. A group of residential developers had brought a version of it in 2024, and that was a tool they created that was going to be exclusive to residential development. And what we did in 2025 was not reinvent it or recreate it in any way, but open it up more to different types of development, not just residential. With that, I know you have some information in front of you. I will preface this that while I've been very immersed in this world of infrastructure districts, I am in no way a bond finance expert, so I'll have to defer those questions until you get one of those experts, but happy to answer any questions about what this process has been like. We are also running around trying to educate other local bodies and help them navigate next steps in this process. So welcome any questions.
We all have questions, Councilman Chabot.
Evening, ma'am. Thanks for coming here. So you say commercial real estate development, so nothing to do with normal real estate. You're lobbying for the commercial side.
Yes, just the commercial side.
The commercial side is the only one I see where we could do something. Because if I look at the main bill, and if I go to the legislative intent, the sponsors from the RIDA, who's the Representative Del Carr and Senator Paul Billy, both, it was kind of interesting that the top donor for the first one is the Tennessee Association of Realtors. And for the second one, the Tennessee Association of Realtors is the 6th donors for all the money they received for their campaign. So, but I go to what they actually publish at the legislative intent. The the first point is provide an alternative method for municipalities to fund infrastructure. And I understand that with municipalities who actually pay for infrastructure, but that's not our case. In Gallatin, the developer pay for infrastructure. So on that side of the law, I think we're creating a problem more than a solution, because we don't need that solution, because developers pay for infrastructure. Help manage growth without raising taxes. So we go back to the same. We don't have to raise taxes to build infrastructure in Gallatin because developers pay for it. Empower developers to finance road, drainage, and utilities through special assessment or homeowners. Same thing, they already pay for it. So on the normal real estate side, I don't think we need to do anything because they already pay for it. And what's interesting that what I heard talking to several people is that they say that's going to help for affordability housing, but on their point, they say that REDA could help increase housing supply. They don't talk about affordability, they talk about supply, who's kind of linked there to, the big money realtor association because they want supply to sell houses. Now, Ms. Beth said there is four places. I looked into it. I found only one who's on a paper who's Knox County. And what's really interesting that as soon as the law passed, a developer came on and asked to put a REDA, and it's D.R. Horton, one of the biggest developers in the U.S. And they approved it. But again, the difference between Knox County and us is that in Knox County pay for the infrastructure, not the developer. So at that point, I would be okay with it. On the commercial side, I have no problem with it. And I think, we should actually use that and bring back people who voted for giving 1.5 million of taxpayer money to the developer on the target, to bring it back so we can vote it down and have these people use actually that to fund and not use taxpayer money. So again, on the residential side, pure residential, I think we don't need it here because developer pay for infrastructure. So that's how I see it.
Okay, Ms. Blackhurst was here to take questions. Do you guys have any questions for her? Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say, she is here to talk about the law, and she is not on one side or the other in terms of residential or commercial or which one you like better. So I did not know if you had a question, but I don't want her to feel like she's getting pointed at or beaten up because she came as a guest to explain her familiarity with how this all processed and became law. So thanks.
No, I know.
You were very kind. I just want to make sure everybody knows she's not here promoting one thing or the other.
I would like to know what you think about the fact that how do you see that fitting in Gallatin, knowing that the municipality actually doesn't pay for infrastructure, it's a developer?
Yeah, so I think where we're at with both development and the state of infrastructure across our state is that the demand for what is needed around a development is getting greater and greater. I think this could also ease some of the conversations that happen about, well, what's off-site infrastructure and what's directly, has that direct nexus to the development. And this can help in some of that. So where you before had the developer was able to pay for what was, maybe directly serving their development, this actually gives them flexibility to do more beyond just what narrowly serves their development. I would also just say that, maybe as a preface to our any other comments, this legislation is just enabling. All the authority going forward rests with local legislative bodies. You have full ability, whether you draft your own policy or whether you just go based on what the state law, to say no to anyone who's coming and asking for this. So we're not here to compel to
I think the
compel it. We're
point
actually
is-
being like, you have a lot more authority on this than anyone else.
And truly, from my conversations, I view it as a tool that developers can use, and that it's much more compelling on the commercial side in the state that we currently are in. I mean, in the status that we're in currently in, not the state of Tennessee. It's a tool to help make development more feasible, and it's a tool that, you know, the builder can use. And I mean, I'm glad that we are acknowledging that, you know, developers do pay for the cost of their infrastructure and have for many, many years in our city. But this is a way that they can do it and perhaps make it more robust, or that they can enhance it in a way to make it a better project. But it's a different financing tool, and it is a different capital stack tool, I guess.
It really isn't. I think as infrastructure costs are going up, it's getting more difficult for developers to cobble together the financing for those upfront costs, and they're going to be more limited in what they can actually do, whereas this opens up, well, you know, we were just going to fix this road and add, you know, extend the sewer line, but this might be like, okay, we're going to extend the sewer line even further and fix the road, and also we have room to build a park or add more, you know, desirable parking options. So it's going to, the idea is really that there's a public benefit to what they're doing, and, you know, instead of trying to argue to do the bare minimum, they're going to be able to do a lot more.
Well, in a high interest rate environment too, it's appealing.
Exactly. And these bonds provide a lot more, say, lower interest rates on these.
Does anyone, I mean, do you all feel like you have a good understanding of how the IDDs work and who they are appropriate for, and our options for if we consider them at some point in the future? Do you have any questions on things you can clarify for you?
I got a question. Let's say you have 5 in a community. Are they all taxed the same way, or can it be different?
Different structured. I'm sorry. That was
They're all going to
Kind of
have.
like a use tax. Those people use that, and they're going to be taxed. If they use the road more, they're going to pay more.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to think about the actual tax is like an HOA type fee for the people who, I mean, commercial's a little different. You're typically owning that development, but they're going to be responsible for paying that assessment. But it's similar to an HOA, and it's a line on your annual tax bill.
Thank you.
You have a question?
Yeah, we part of the law talk about having the IDB transfer that to the IDB, so the IDB can basically issue a bond at low interest rate, so the developer can get money at a cheaper rate. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's also they're getting the money at the cheaper rate in order to provide greater public benefit.
But that's why I disagree with the public benefit here. Because, again, the municipality doesn't pay for it. And to answer Steve's question, because I looked at the Knox County, the assessment per home is estimated at $1,000 a year. So people are going to pay $1,000 a year on a separate tax. So think of a normal housing here, that's what you pay. So basically they're going to have the equivalent of the real estate tax twice every year for, and I think Knox County is 22 years, I think, or 25 years, 22 years, I think. So, yeah, that's a lot of money every year. That's basically doubling, you double your real estate tax every year.
Oh, for sure. And I think one thing to keep in mind, this is new development. So this could not be just put randomly on an existing house. This is a new development, and actually Tennessee, because we've had the benefit of learning from other states that have done this, and we, on our state law, have the strongest disclosure requirements of any state in the country. So you would know well ahead of time. You know, you're making the choice that I am purchasing a home in this community. I'm acknowledging that I have an extra assessment. I think potentially the attractive quality is, but I'm buying into a community with, you know, a nature walk and a park and, you know, extra accessibility. Again, that is on the residential side, which I am here for the commercial side, but that's kind of you would have that, but you're making an informed decision to take that on.
You consider this an infrastructure maintenance, or does it to create infrastructure, or both?
It's my understanding it can be used for both. If you're maintaining the infrastructure you built, yes.
If you want more, you'll pay more. Okay.
And I don't think it's for maintaining, it's for the initial build of the infrastructure. I didn't see anything about maintaining in a bill.
Yeah, I think it can be, that's something you can, again, each of these are going to be projects you're going to work out for probably years with your local governments and decide on those things like that.
I agree with you, it's a tool for developers, but again, I don't see the necessity in Gallatin, except because, it's going to come. They're going to ask for it. They're going to ask for it for sure, because they're going to have to spend less money up front. But I don't think it's fair because that's not going to lower the cost. That's not going to lower the cost of the housing market, because the housing market is based on comp. So a developer is not going to arrive and say, hey, I got that tool, I have to pay less, so I'm going to reduce my cost. When if everything around sell at $650K a unit, they're not going to be able to sell it at $400K a unit. They're going to have to apply what's around it. So like I say, I think on the commercial side, I agree. I think that can be a good tool, but on the residential side here in Gallatin, I think we're creating a problem we don't have. So.
Again,
I know.
here
I know. You
advocating
don't
for
have to say
commercial.
anything. I
I
understand.
won't
You're
argue
not
with
here to
any of the
debate.
residential side. But I think I'll just go back to, this will all come in front of you, and you'll be able to weigh the pros and cons.
We appreciate you. And
Just last question, because we talk about the commercial. What do you see pro and con on the commercial side?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry.
What are your view on the pros and cons on the commercial side?
You know, I think the pros for a commercial side is if you have a site that needs significant infrastructure in order to make it work for your project, this is going to be funds that you can add to your capital stack to actually make that project happen. I think the cons, and this is going to work itself out, we educate our members on this. This is not a tool for every single type of development. It's not going to work. It is very specific types of projects that this is going to make financial sense for them to use. So it's definitely not to tell someone, if you're building a single office building with some retail on the bottom, you know, this is not a tool that you're probably going to take advantage of. But if you're looking at something that's on a much larger scale, it could definitely be a benefit to how you, and again, to the cities, you can ask for more than what you might be able to if they're just paying for it on their own.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all for having me today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rachel. And did y'all want anything else brought back to you in the future? We do anticipate that at some point, maybe sooner than later, you will get a request or an application. So just FYI. But if you need any more information, I'm happy to compile it, bring somebody else, someone from one of the other communities if they'll drive over here. Bristol's a little far, but Knoxville's a little closer. So is Franklin, and the other one I believe is in West Tennessee. But there's just any more you want us to bring back?
Knoxville, again, all the communities I look at are different than us because the municipality pay for infrastructure. If that was the case, I would say, hey, go for it. If that was impacting every taxpayer, I would go for it. And the staff
It
was
is
really
so very brand new
Yeah.
that as I said, no one has gone through even borrowing the money yet. I just wanted to make sure that you had information so you're not hit cold with that first request. The other conversation I had with Ms. Blackhurst and some of these other folks is you need to be cautious when you're developing your policy because if you've never done it before, you might find that you have a policy and then you have to change it as the project develops because you didn't anticipate certain things. Franklin is struggling with their policy because it was very restrictive and the council was not wanting it to be as incredibly restrictive as was initially recommended. I'm not saying it needs to be restrictive. I'm not saying it needs to be less restrictive. We don't have a policy. I haven't really seen one that has gone. We haven't worked with the community that has gone to the next step besides approving an application and knowing that they were working through that process. But happy to bring you anything when it does happen. And again, not necessarily advocating for this. We're just trying to get you informed for when you have that first request.
Thank you, Ms. Bates.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Item 2 is ordinance 02510-62. This is an ordinance appropriating $125,000 from the occupancy tax reserve to Christmas decoration fund. Ms. Landstrom's not here this evening. I told her I'd be happy to present it. I explained to you all last weekend, or maybe she did last week, that we're looking to finally invest in downtown with our holiday decor because we have the perfect downtown for holiday decorations, and our holiday decorations have been tired at best for a long time, even though we work really hard to make things look nice, and I think people downtown too as well.
Motion to send it on to council.
Motion by Councilman Carter, second by Councilman Alexander. We are working on your recommendation, Councilman Alexander. Help us find a place. Help us find a place. We've looked all over and still nothing feels exactly right. So, motion by Councilman Carter, second by Councilman Alexander. Any questions, any discussion? Councilman Juvance.
Thank you, Mayor. I understand Christmas spirit, but I think I can't vote yes on that because I think we have places where we can get the money we need. I would abstain.
Okay, anyone else? This is ordinance 02510-62. All in favor of moving forward, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. And one abstention, so that's 5 in favor. It moves forward. Item 3 is ordinance 02509-49. This is an ordinance appropriating $13,540 received from the State of Tennessee Department of Tourist Development Tourism Marketing Grant. This is an appropriating of funds that were received in a grant.
Motion to send it on to council.
Motion by Councilman Carter, second by Councilman Juvance. Questions, discussion. All in favor of moving forward, ordinance 02509-49, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Does move forward unanimously. Item 4 is resolution R2509-55. Resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a clinical affiliation agreement between Volunteer State Community College and the Gallatin Fire Department. Chief Beeman.
Good evening, council. The purpose of this item, as the mayor said, is to authorize the mayor to sign a clinical affiliation agreement with Vol State Community College. and this enhances our partnership with that school for our emergency medical systems training, and this will allow a basic EMT student one clinical ride with the fire department so they can learn that there's other entities and organizations that provide emergency medical services besides ambulance services. And they'll see that the fire service, historically and across the country, 70+% of our runs are medically related.
Move to council.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Dumont, second by Councilman Carter. Questions, discussion? Resolution R25, okay, Councilman Dumont.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, thanks for doing that. That's great. Let the kid realize what the real job is. And I have a question for the mayor. Do we have been approached to do that with other departments like code, for example, or planning, or we just have been approached for?
Ball State?
Yeah.
I don't think that would be something that they would have a use for us with.
No, I think
We have a really good relationship with Ball State if there's
probably the only
opportunities.
department where they can extend this relationship to for this type of program. They do have criminal justice classes, but not at the level or with the dynamics that would allow a student to ride in a police car in that environment.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, this resolution R2509-55, all in favor of moving forward to council, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Moves forward unanimously. Item 5 is Resolution R2509-68, resolution accepting public improvements by the city of Gallatin and Twin Eagles, Phase 15. Mr. Tuttle.
Yeah, good evening. First couple here that we have are acceptance of public infrastructure. The first one, item number 5, is Twin Eagles, Phase 15, Section A. It includes a portion of Maya Marie Drive and a portion of Sparrow Lane. It was recommended to be approved by the Planning Commission unanimously.
Motion sent on to council.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilman Carter. Any questions, any discussion? Councilman Gibbons.
Thank you, Mayor. We're talking about Twin Eagles, and I'm still wondering why the extension from Henry Lane all the way down was not built, because if I remember well, our city attorney told us that road needed to be built. And when I went back to planning, that stuff disappeared out of thin air. So that road is not built, and I don't think we should accept anything until that road is built.
Fine. I mean, you respond if you want to, you respond if you want to, or we'll move forward and vote.
I don't know if you want to respond, or if you want me to respond, I'm happy.
The condition, there was a condition that was set by the Planning Commission as we move forward within this development, that Dottie Drive extension would go to Douglas Lane at a certain CO or certificate of occupancy. We haven't reached that threshold yet, but that's the approval that was given.
And I'll just respond. I did go back and listen to that meeting, and I certainly did say I think that road should be built. Nick and I both still strongly believe that. You're not going to find two bigger advocates to have that road built than the two of us. But in that same meeting, after I gave my legal opinion and said everything that I had to say, after I spoke, then there was discussion. I know that our codes official got up and said that we were already in Phase 15A, and there were houses that already were being built. They already had their building permits, and that they needed to get their certificates of occupancy. And what was stated is it should go back to Planning Commission. There would be discussions internally. It should go back to Planning Commission, and Planning Commission would make the recommendation, and that's exactly what happened. And when it did go to Planning Commission, they put this condition on, and what it requires is that there's now going to be a surety. That road is going to be built, and before they can, and Brian, you can correct me, because I wasn't at the planning, but I had to go back and look at that. Before they can record that plat, they have to provide a surety. So now we will have assurance that either the road will be built by the developer or the city will have funds so the road will be built if he attempts to do anything in Phase 15B. Is that accurate?
And if he doesn't do 15B,
Exactly. That was the question that you asked in that meeting, and I said, what would happen? And you said, what will happen? And I said, I guess the city will have to build that road, because I do believe that road is necessary.
I still think this road is necessary now because we've seen what happened the last time we had flooding where the main entry was blocked. So if somebody is getting hurt, if that happens again, somebody is getting hurt, we are responsible because we didn't follow your advice. When you say that road had to be built now, we should have built that road now. And that's all I'm going to say.
Any other questions? This is Resolution R2509-68. All in favor of moving forward to council, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no.
No.
Passes on to council 6-1. Item number 6. Nick, what would you think if we went through like item number 7 and then moved up the annexation? Just because there's a lot of people here and I hate to keep.
No problem.
Because we've got several reports coming up and that kind of thing.
Ma'am.
What is the body
This
feeling?
can go quick.
Huh?
6 can go quick. It's just an acceptance.
Right, but I'm thinking do 6 and then do 7 and then move up, then move up 14.
Yes, ma'am. Motion to move 14 after 7.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That gives you a little bit of warning, Brian, and shows some consideration to the folks who are here this evening. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. It's Resolution R2509-67, accepting public improvements by the City of Gallatin and Carrollton 7A.
Planning Commission recommended acceptance of Phase 7A in Carrollton. It includes, I'm not sure if I pronounce it right, Giacomo Way, or Court and Cloverbrook Way. Also a couple of other smaller roads, Funny Side Alley. There is also a portion, Santa Anita Alley, that is included in this phase. And again, unanimous recommendation from PC.
Motion to move to council.
Motion by Councilman Givat, second by Councilman Fennell. Questions, discussion. It's Resolution R2509-67. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Moves forward, unanimous support. Item 7 is Ordinance 02510-55. Ordinance appropriating funds received in the amount of $1,311.77 for damage to a traffic signal.
Motion to move to council.
Motion by Councilman Givat. Second by Councilman Carter. Questions, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, moves forward with unanimous recommendation. Item 14 then is Resolution R2509-70, resolution of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, annexing a 325.48 acre portion of a parcel, tax map 106, parcel 35, including a portion of Brights Lane located south of Highway 31E, north of Gateway Drive, into the City of Gallatin, authorizing the annexed property to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, assigning the annexed area to a council district, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Excuse me,
Mayor,
ma'am.
I think I'll probably say the same thing as you, but.
Do the plan of
item-
service
Item
before.
number 13 is also associated with this, so.
I was thinking it was the one after that. Yeah, you can go back if you want.
Plan of service has to come first.
Plan of service have to do.
So do you
before.
guys want to vote, just to make sure that we got everything
Move
covered?
13 before 14.
Okay. Second? Second by Councilman Alexander. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 13, Resolution R2509-69, adopting a plan of service for the annexation of a 325.48 acre portion of a parcel, providing for an effective date south of Highway 31E, north of Gateway Drive.
Yeah, I'm going to switch it. Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this is a proposal to, I'm sorry, let me get the PowerPoint caught up here. It's a proposal to annex the Gregory property, which is a 325.48 plus or minus acre portion of a parcel. I'll explain that a little bit here in the next little bit. But it's that portion of property west here of Brights Lane and north of Gateway Drive, which is kind of a reference road. It's not adjacent to Gateway, but again, Roundtree Drive kind of cuts through the middle of it and borders the southern portion of this property right here. As we have discussed in previous meetings, the contiguity issue is being addressed by a small little segment of Brights Lane here. It's essentially a 10-foot segment that surrounds the outer portion of where the deed that had been done for Roundtree Drive stopped, and the remainder of that portion was still land owned by Mr. Gregory. And so, of course, he owns the Brights Lane center line for a portion here, and then across he owns all of Brights Lane up in here, which we had to cut the line off at Brights Lane due to the fact that our urban growth boundary stops at Brights Lane. I'll also just point out the fact that our engineering department was not in favor of annexing Brights Lane, and so wanted to take in as little as possible. So that is hence the reason why they have laid it out in this manner with just a little 10-foot segment around the edge of that, keeping the northern piece of that contiguous through that little leg and then coming around the other side. And you'll see the whole property right there. The property has not been proposed for zoning yet, as it is not something that they can apply for until the property has been annexed. And that would also come along with their development proposal. So I know some of the concerns and issues that were brought up by residents about, buffering and roadways and access and things like that. Those types of things would be addressed during a rezoning or development proposal, not during the annexation segment of this. Now, it has been proposed, at least by the applicant, that the property is intended to become industrial property. And they have submitted an application for a comprehensive plan amendment that would change the property to general urban with a change to the little gray dot on the character area map that sort of intends for that area to have a focus on industrial development. That's the extent that I can tell you on the industrial side of things. We really can't get into that discussion until we get to the rezoning and the comprehensive plan amendment discussion, which actually the Planning Commission recommended that those two, the rezoning and the comprehensive plan amendment, be run concurrently instead of trying to go forward with the comprehensive plan amendment now. They recommended that they wait and do those together so that those can be together as part of one action that they do. Obviously, the comp plan amendment would happen first and then the rezoning, but they recommended that those happen in the same meeting. Again, annexation happens for a variety of reasons, mainly to increase the growth opportunities, increase the tax base, value of properties as they are sitting agriculturally in use. It does not bring in the tax base that would normally come in with if the property is developed as either industrial or other. So, I mean, that would definitely help increase the tax base. I know Rosemary has been a big supporter of this, as land is sparse within the industrial districts, and in given their ability to, have new projects that are available to come into the city, would be greatly increased by being able to have this property available for that. So with that, I'll turn it over to you for any questions or comments.
Questions, but a statement. I don't have any questions, just a statement.
Thank you, Mayor. So the mayor gave me a new guy card. I can ask whatever questions for the first year. I still got 2.5 months. All
Still the new
right, so
guy.
here we go. Tell me why we have to wait for the comp plan. You mentioned that, and you mentioned they, and I inquired some, and they mentioned legal. There's maybe a legal reason. Why can't we look at the comp plan and this annexation request together?
There's nothing stopping the comp plan and the annexation request from happening together. The Planning Commission simply recommended that the comp plan discussion occur with the rezoning discussion, so that as you're making a decision on rezoning, I think they were trying to steer it towards not being something that would change in between, someone would change their mind or whatever. They're looking at them kind of together.
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking, though, Mr. Rose, is I'd like to really know this is light industrial before we annex.
Unfortunately,
Don't think anybody's going to disagree with you on that, but that's.
Well,
Unfortunately,
this is when the application came in a few weeks ago, that was my one comment. And it's like, well, they've indicated this is what they intend to do. I appreciate that. So if financing falls through, if this, if that, if whatever happens, and they say, you know what, let's build 5 units per acre on this instead of, and I know they'd have to come to us and ask for that, but we pass those out pretty
I think
often.
that's why the Planning Commission determined that they should run concurrently in the same meeting.
Yeah. And then also the decision regarding the zoning of the property can't be discussed until it's annexed, because it's a municipal planning commission and not a regional municipal planning commission.
Our
So
Planning Commission no
it-
longer has the jurisdiction and authority to consider rezones. We used to have that ability, and the county changed and took back zoning. And so we used to be a regional planning commission. We changed from a regional to a municipal, and based on the laws, none of us
Not in our limits,
like
we
it.
can't.
No one likes it. We don't like it. I don't like it. Planning doesn't like it, but we have been advised by MTAS.
Well, at least we're in
that
agreement on that.
Yes.
Councilman Fennell, you're recognized.
No, he can go first.
Councilman Schwartz.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor. I agree with my colleague here, and I had the same concern that for having seen that years after years, things change. And again, if it's industrial, great. If they decide with a change of comp plan to be suburban and put, 300 or 400 houses there, there's nothing we can do. So, and we don't have on the current zoning a industrial zoning. I know we have on the new zoning it's coming, but not on the current zoning. We don't have an industrial.
You talking about the character area plan?
Yeah. So what I think we should do, and that's what I mentioned at the planning last time, is that we should change the comp plan with creating a industrial overlay, and that could be easy to do because if I remember well, When we vote on a camp plan and we vote to change Log 4, I think Mayor Brown did bring an overlay down the lake back there to create something. So I think we should change the comp plan. We have time to put a industrial overlay on that piece, and when we have that, annex and zone to make sure that that's going to be actually industrial and not residential. That's what I think.
Councilman Javance, this property owner, and I don't know if there's a representative of the property owner. Mr. Leith is here representing the property owner. I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily disagree with you, but this property owner is asking for annexation tonight, not rezoning. And anything that you just mentioned would still have to involve the comp plan. So changing the comp plan along with considering a rezoning has to come after the annexation. I do not think, from all my 2 years of conversations with the property owner and his push to get this in the city so it can be zoned industrial, he already has interest and potential LOIs waiting for it to become industrial. And I do believe he's a very honest person and he's very transparent about that's what he wants to do. So it's not like he's keeping it a secret, and that's why we've talked about it in advance. It may have hurt him a little bit, actually, to talk about the zoning in advance, because that's not what you're considering tonight. You're just considering annexation. At some point, when he processes it for rezoning and a change to the comp plan, you can defer that. You can, like the Planning Commission, say we want to change the comp plan at the same time we're granting an industrial zone for that property. But I hope you don't delay this part because of what we have in the pipeline, and some of it is confidential and I can't share with you, and nothing that in my reign, I hate to say that, well, that's not the right word to use, but in my being in charge of this department, I am very protective of what we're bringing into the city. And there are companies we have said, you are not a good fit for Gallatin, and we have said, consider going elsewhere, and they have. So I really would hope that you'll go ahead and vote for the annexation tonight and then have this extended conversation about the comp plan and the rezoning as that next step occurs, because it's got to go to the Planning Commission first anyway, for them to come back to you with a recommendation. So.
Councilman Pham?
I can say that I've known the property owner for many years, and I was the first person to move into the Grandview residence. I think it was 87, 88. For years, he's told me he wanted that to be industrial, and he's never once mentioned residential, if that helps. And that I'm going to consider that in my vote.
It was good to hear from Judy Harden today, our former highway commissioner, and I had a little conversation with her. But I think if we travel this path and we go to annexes for industrial usage, I think it's a must that we take the concerns of the citizens' input. That makes a lot of sense about, I talked to Judy about it, about trying to turn Roundtree into a cul-de-sac down there. I would hate to see any 18-wheelers or anything traveling that road to get to an industrial site. I think it needs to be buffered heavily to where they, or do not see that. It still maintains the characteristic of a farmland area. Noise is a big concern of mine, and lighting is a concern of mine. But I think that, I think if you go into our industrial park now and look at some of that, I'm happy with it, and it's really nice. It's still got a flavor of the country, even though there's industrial there. So, if we do annex this and we travel this path, also I think, and it's hard for me to say this without sounding bad, but I think if I lived and I was in that situation, I would rather have a good industrial fit in that area than have a bunch of houses in that area. So I do support annexing it for industrial usage. However, I really want to make sure that our citizens are protected in that area. That's all I have to say.
Anyone else? Councilman Javance again.
Thank you, Mayor. We're talking about Ms. Alden. She mentioned something with kind of discrepancy with what we have here about right-of-ways and stuff like that. So any chance you could get with her and make sure it's actually contiguous before we do anything else? I know we have time before the next council, but maybe get with her and look at her documents.
We can double check everything. I know our city engineering department and their surveyors have double checked the legal description, and it does appear to be correct, but we'll double check it.
It looks like we went from 13 to 14 on the conversation, but that.
Right.
So if it.
I mean, I didn't really discuss much with the plan of services. Really, we didn't get a whole lot of necessary needs for changes to the police or fire department. Infrastructure-wise, the roads, sewer, those types of things would have to be built and extended by any developer of the site. Right now, I believe there was no water, sewer to the site, and it would have to be extended from off-site to get to the property. But, you know, again, those types of expenses would have to be borne by the developer of the property.
Is it possible that we could require the zoning to be simultaneous?
No, that's what
Connecting?
we just discussed. Has to go first. It doesn't make sense to any of us, but that's how we have to do it. So.
And I'm going to repeat myself. I still think the city is in default of previous plan of service, so I can't vote no on plan of service or new annexation.
Not have a motion or a second if someone would like to make one.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Vice Mayor Harris, second by Councilman Carter.
Are we on 13 and 14 together, or? Okay.
Okay, we'll do them together then.
In a committee meeting, we can do that, not.
Okay. So this is for 13 and 14 to move forward. I do just want to say, for the residents' benefit, I do not think it is the desire of the Economic Development Agency or me or most of this body that I know to have any type of heavy industry. And what we are looking for is, you know, good tech jobs, industry that uses a lot of robotics, pays high wages, and we also seek low employers because we have low number of employers because we have such a workforce shortage in Middle Tennessee. We aren't seeking anybody that employs 1,000 people or, you know, even probably 250. We want large capital investment, technical, and good wages. So I don't think heavy industry falls into that. And so I think that's just for the residents' benefit. So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of moving forward, Resolution R2509-69 and Resolution R2509-70 to council, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, it passes 6-1 to council. Okay, now we are going back to.
5-1.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize you had stepped out. You didn't vote. 5-1, it moves forward to council. Too late. You didn't vote on that one. Let's see, we are going back now to 8. Item number 8, ordinance 02510-56. Mr. Tuttle.
Yes, thank you. So item number 8, as we have discussed, the state of Tennessee, TDOT, is looking to replace the bridge at Station Camp Creek. They're also looking to replace the bridge at East Camp Creek. So that is between Lakeshore and Tulip Poplar, or not Tulip Poplar. I guess it is Lakeshore and Tulip Poplar. And on the other side is Blue Jay Way. So East Camp Creek, right there where Liberty Creek Park is. In doing that, there is a small piece of right-of-way that the city was just gifted the property to the northeast of that structure for parkland. And they're asking for a donation of about 0.187 acres right-of-way and easement to widen that bridge. It's our opinion and recommendation that we should donate that property. There was an appraisal that was done, and we can require the state to pay the fair market value if we so choose. But again, taxpayer dollars, either way you go, just depends on how you want to look at it. And I think TDOT's been a great partner with us, and I believe it's fair that.
Might need something from them.
That's right. It's always good to work with our TDOT partner.
Motion by Vice Mayor Hayes, second by Councilman Fennell. Any questions, any discussion? All in favor of sending forward to council, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Now we're getting quiet. Moves forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 1. 6 to nothing, sorry. 6 to 0. This is a ball game. Item 9, Engineering Division Capital Improvement Program Project Update. Mr. Tuttle.
Thank you, ma'am. This is an item that I'd like to make somewhat regular, at least every 6 months, if not once a quarter, to give you guys an update on our capital improvement projects that we've got going on. I know some of you guys are still the new guys and may not know everything that is in the capital improvement program. Just tallied up the projects that we have in this program, not counting the TDOT-led projects, is almost $80 million worth of projects that are being developed. That's a mixture of city funds. It's a mixture of other state and federal funds, but wanted to walk through it slowly to some extent tonight, but I can go as fast as you want. But I want to take a little bit of time tonight as we move forward. You know, the next update, I'm happy to place this in the department head report line, and just, you know, you can ask questions if you'd like. So if you don't mind, I did have a PowerPoint presentation. I'll go through the blocks of projects. So the first block that we have, if you have your packet with you, is the stormwater block. And we've got over $11 million of projects that are in this block. And I will jump right in, and we get to the end of this, I'll take a pause there. You could ask questions about any of those projects if you'd like, and we can go into detail. So first on the list here is Center Street to Anthony Street stormwater, and I'm showing you on our screen now the drainage path, the stormwater path that this would be improving. This is a project that was dreamed up following the 2010 floods. And we've gotten to the point where we are ready to move forward with property acquisition. It's planned to be done in 2 phases. And so we have appraisals that are being completed. I think most of them are completed, and we'll begin approaching property owners in the very, very near future, hoping that this is a well-received project and we can have acquisition completed within 6 months, moving into a summer construction time for that phase 1. So I'll move into the next one, American Legion Post 17, Veterans Residence Stormwater. This is a project that I think you all are familiar with. We have partnered with the county. They have given $500,000 worth of ARPA funds to go towards a stormwater improvement. We have combined this with a portion of the South Water Phase 3 project that we've talked about to try to remedy the issue that the Veterans Residence, Veterans Home has been experiencing for a great number of years. And so move quickly into the next one, Bly Avenue Stormwater. There are a series of projects that have been created in response to the Bly and Dorothy Jordan streetscape or widening project. As we're going through there, making those improvements along Bly and Dorothy Jordan, there are some stormwater projects that have been realized out of that, because as you make expansions, you add more, curbs and gutters and asphalts and sidewalks, you can create more problems. And so we've got 3 different projects that I'll walk slowly through just on this screen here. So one is we call Area 1. It's from Church Street. Let's see if I can point here. So Church Street is right here, and this is Dorothy Jordan. And so the stormwater project actually cuts through Mr. Alexander's, not Mr. Todd Alexander, but Roy Alexander's property. And then it actually crosses over, crosses underneath the railroad track, which is already a culvert there that we're not changing because that would take a lot more money and a lot more time. But cutting through the parking lot beside the, is it Fred's? Dollar General? I've gone blank for some reason. Dollar General, thank you. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. So that's the first one. Second one is another stormwater project that is, let me see if I can identify the roads to get you. This is West Gray Street crossing the railroad track, North Water and 31E here. So we made a pretty extensive improvement on Gray Street years and years ago, but there still is a path that runs through that old lumber yard, crosses again the railroad track, goes under the old railroad depot, and then you all may be somewhat familiar with lots of complaints that are on Lion Street. And so this is an attempt to try to make as much improvement as is practical on Lions before that goes into Town Creek. Next is North Council Avenue, and if you have ever been over in the neighborhood where Bly, this is north on this end of the page, on the right side of the page, south on the left side of the page, and then Pace, Jackson, and North Council. If you've ever been over in this area after, we'll say 5+ inches of rain falls, you'll see that this is a pond. There's no outlet for this, and so we're looking to actually come in, create an injection well and a holding area to try to create a flood area as opposed to letting it flood everywhere. And so that's the proposal for that. And then I think our last stormwater project that we have on our list is one that I think, again, most of you guys have heard about. Oh, it didn't make it into didn't make it into the presentation, my figure, but this Triple Creek Park, I think you guys are familiar with where that is and the berm that is across the property that we will be talking about a portion of it being annexed in a little bit. So I'll pause and open it up to questions that you may have about stormwater projects real quick.
So for the Council Street mitigation project, is it going to be like going back toward the train track area where you would, where you're going to look to channel the water to?
That's right. So that, again, there's really no place without a super expensive project for us to take this. So we're just going to keep it there, create, again, a holding pond or a holding area for that water to go to. And what it's doing now is it's just percolating into the ground and disappearing that way. So it's not currently draining out. We're creating, with the injection well, hopefully a more fluid way for it to drain out quickly.
I will say that is one of my favorite things that I'm seeing right now, because I had a good friend that used to live on that street. And then my first year on council, I spent a great deal visiting a constituent there that would point that out. So I think that people on the North Council area, they're going to love that. And I think it's wonderful. So I'm glad to see it.
I think Sean had a...
Josh, maybe I didn't catch what you was saying, but like the first project up there, have you got an idea when that project might start?
Center to Anthony Street project. The plan is sometime next year. We think summer is when we would be going to construction. That depends on how quickly we can acquire the easements that are necessary
That's
for
with
it.
all these projects, basically?
It's not with all these projects.
Can you go back
That's
to
with this project.
the other one down by Roy Alexander's property? That's the one really, that one right there.
Yeah, so the schedule there, most of the Bly Avenue projects, we're hoping to team up with the Bly Avenue construction, and we're not expecting that to happen until more later, 2027.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Nick. For the post-17, I'm kind of worried because I need to be finished in 1 year.
Yes.
for the fund. Where are we with, because I think we needed a piece of land from the neighbor. Where are we with that? Do you know?
Yes, I can go ahead and dive into that now. I was going to save that one for department head report a little bit later, but we may as well hit it. So we have negotiated as far as we think we can negotiate. We've made as high of an offer as we can through our normal strategies and what we as staff feel like we're capable of doing. And we've not been able to reach an agreement with the property owner. So our next logical step is to turn that over to our attorney's office for condemnation. It's, in my opinion, that is the next step, or we choose not to do the project. It's the only property that acquisition is required on for this project, and we rarely get to this point. We were talking about this earlier. Probably about 90% of our properties that we go through the process on, we're not forced into this kind of posture and condemnation, but that's where we're at.
Did they do appraisals on that? I mean,
Absolutely.
and
Yes,
they
sir.
they didn't want to accept it?
No. They thought the property was worth more than what the appraisal produced.
Did they have something to prove that, or?
They shared their own thoughts and comparables, and we took that to our appraiser. It didn't change the appraisal. We were able to increase our offer to some extent, as we will do from time to time based on our policies, but we could not. No, the Legion is not. We aren't required to get any property or easement from them. The property or easement is Liberty Baptist Church, so that is the property owner that we have not been able to reach an agreement
And
with.
it's particularly challenged because the church as a whole makes the determination, and our representatives have actually been I shouldn't say it like that, but the representatives for the church that our appraiser has dealt with are some city employees. So that kind of complicates it some more, and so we're trying to navigate, but I don't think we've ever had a circumstance where we haven't reached an agreement with the church, and so we're not, we're disappointed, but we can't be unfair to, future or past people, because everyone's told us that we're very generous in our negotiations, and our appraiser has said that we are, so.
Sorry, ma'am. How far away are we? Is that far?
I'll say that our appraisal, their counter offer was they wanted approximately double from the value that we had offered, and we did increase our offer twice to try to get closer, but they did not change their offer or counter offer. They never moved.
So I know there was a plan before who was not including the road. What is that something we can, if we can't, because I had to do condemnation because I think the same way I said for the stuff last week. But I think that's an issue we need to resolve some way. Will we have enough money to bounce back to the old plan without including the road to make sure we take care of that flooding issue?
Conceptual plan, but there
So,
wasn't.
right, this gets very complicated very quickly. The plan that was created years ago was something that was expected to be constructed by the American Legion on their own. It would have helped their situation. And then when the city was invited to help to correct the issue, the way that we saw fit to fix the problem was to expand the detention pond that we own at the rear of the American Legion property, which is at the corner of Bates and Woods Ferry. And so, as I explained to Councilman Alexander earlier, expanding that pond required and allowed us to correct the issue with Woods Ferry Road with the poor alignment, the poor angle alignment that comes in there. So both of those things worked together, which then necessitated another connection back to the other end of Woods Ferry with Hale Avenue extension. So it's, could there be other solutions? Possibly. At this point, we have our design complete, and the clock is ticking on actually getting something to bid, and we have to have the money spent in about a year from now, October 2026. So time is certainly of the essence, or we're going to lose the $500,000 that's been given.
Because if we go to condemnation, how long that takes?
Well, if we go to condemnation, we get possession fairly quickly, and that's all that we need to move the project forward. So that's not a concern. We don't have to wait until the condemnation's over to spend the money.
Goes to court, it has to be after the city gets possession. Nick, what is the property in question? How's it zoned?
I'm not sure. It may be commercially zoned. I don't think I have that appraisal.
Nick, this might not have nothing, I mean, I was approached by Liberty Church, being in my district over there, but they was talking about the property to the, looking toward.
Yes.
To
Yes,
the left.
They brought that up.
They
in our
was wanting that property, and for the 100 foot that we had to take, and he was like, well, you just gonna take my property? I said, I don't think we're just gonna take your property. I said, you know, I don't.
Right. So in comparison, the city is interested in acquiring 0.3 acres. The property that they are interested in to the north is 0.9 acres. It's almost a full acre. So, and that was one of the comparables that they gave, because they thought that they could acquire that property for the price that they were asking for from us, which sounds fair, because we're asking for 3/10, and that property is 3 times that.
I want to ask you also, you mentioned the Triple Creek berm. The houses that I've got, the duplexes that you know that are flooding from the creek, is there a potential that berm could help alleviate some of that flooding issues that I have off of Gallatin Road?
This project with the American Legion?
No, I'm talking about the berm project on
Oh,
Creek.
I don't know that would make that much of an impact there. You're a little bit upstream on the other tributary with that property. It's possible that it could lower the water or the hydraulic grade line slightly in that area to allow your stormwater on that branch to pass through quicker, but I don't recall, I didn't study that or look at that in detail. The goal of that project is really to try to mitigate flooding that's downtown area. But I did maybe.
Right in that area.
Yeah, maybe it could help to some extent by allowing basically that tributary that you're talking about on the south side to pass through quicker. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Okay.
Nick, all those projects you got from council and Mr. Roy's property, you know, from Church Street and all that, you're trying to get that to the town creek, right?
Yes. That's what all the the third Bly project is not, but the other 2 Bly projects, yes.
It was like the Act of Congress getting all that done, but as far as cleaning out Town Creek, is there any, you know, has it been cleaned out? Or I know at my land and stuff, I keep my creek pretty cleaned out. Right. And it keeps me from flooding out, you know.
You flooded me.
Yeah, I was on flooding him. as meant to, but no.
So
Just not-
we do, Richard DePriest's group, they are routinely in and around, especially where we have our box culvert or bridge crossings. We have the liberty to go in and take things down or out there. But there are some limitations because environmental restrictions. So, but really, our folks do a really good job of
Yeah.
making
I
it
know
as
Richard and
efficient
Boo-
as
yeah.
it possibly can be.
Because Alpha Drive, is it not? Alpha Drive, that's right. When it was flooding, they fixed that box culvert under Airport Road right there for all that too. And I know on down through 31 down through there, there's trees all in the creek down through there in the back. So I don't know, it might help you out too. Open it up, but I don't know.
Maybe one day I can share, in the downtown master plan from 20, 25 years ago, there was a project that was shown that actually laid the banks of the creek back going through the downtown area. So you would be required to acquire some properties that are between the creek and Broadway. I'd love to talk about that dream. I think that would be
I think it's great. We got a
home run
division
for
now,
our
so,
downtown and the way that it could create a park area visual from Broadway back into the downtown.
We're kind of working on that, aren't we?
I'm a huge fan of that one, but we hadn't got to that yet.
Many years ago.
Yes. You know, if that's a priority of someone's and you guys would like to see that move forward, I would
Very
love to add
appealing
it to our
to some
list.
potential investors too, so.
Sure. That would help.
Okay, move along on your stormwater.
Any other stormwater questions? All right, we'll move on to the next group, traffic signals. We've got a little over $6 million in this group of projects. First on the list is, and this project is North Belvedere Drive, Village Green Drive signals. We talked about this very recently as we received bids and actually awarded, have already had our pre-construction meeting, and we are waiting for signal poles to be delivered, and we're expecting construction to actually begin in February. We expect that project to last 7-8 months, something like that, before we see it completed. I think a big improvement will be along at the Belvedere and National Pike intersection, where right now we have 3 southbound lanes going into National Pike. The project was create a 4th southbound lane where we'll have a double left turning movement from Belvedere onto National Pike. Next one on the list is National Pike at Hunt Club Boulevard. We have just about finished the traffic signal plans and are looking, I think we have finished, actually, looking to go to bid a little bit later this month. I think we may be aggressive in saying starting construction in December. Very likely it's going to end up being something similar with expecting poles to be delivered. So likely we're talking about more actual boots on the ground, March, April, something like that after we've awarded the project. North Belvedere Tulip Poplar Drive signal. I think we might have had a little bit of misunderstanding with what money may be available to us currently on this when I had typed this, because there was a resolution passed a couple of months ago to incur debt to go towards this project, but I don't know that money's actually been appropriated yet, so we haven't began design, but we're hoping to soon. It is a project that is supposed to be funded with the GO bond that we've talked about. It was included in that conversation we were talking about going ahead and getting started with fire apparatus orders and things of that nature.
Were any developers putting money towards that?
Yes.
Is in a bond, I guess, or something?
Right. We're still, it is not fully funded by developers, but yes, it does have developer contribution. The next 2 on the list are ITS projects that are CMAQ funded. I think one of them is 80/20, the other is 100%. ITS is Intelligent Transportation System. This is where we're continuing to add our signal network, expand our signal network. The first ITS phase included 25 intersections along Nashville Pike, the downtown area. This second phase gets almost all of the rest, including those that are isolated. Actually, let me show you a picture. That would be better, wouldn't it? Here's ITS Phase 2. So those are all the signals that are identified in ITS Phase 2. So not as cost effective as the National Pike, as you can imagine, because that's a lot easier to connect all those. But these are the red lines that they're extensions from GDE's fiber network that kind of branch out to these more isolated intersections. And ITS Phase 3 is actually more signal upgrades on that ITS Phase 1. So going back and adding technology, making it better, more efficient. Again, 100% CMAQ funds, so we appreciate that. That gets me to the end of signals. I'll pause and allow any other questions you guys may have on that. Moving on. Roadway projects, almost $50 million worth of projects right here in this group. So Bly Avenue widening and streetscape, I believe that everyone is fairly familiar with this. I think that the main thing that you ought to know is right-of-way acquisition is happening. We've acquired about 5 of 95 tracks. We're probably within months of getting, we'll say 20 to 25 more of those. We feel confident that things are moving in a good direction. We haven't had any major issues or hurdles so far in those conversations. We are hopeful that as we continue to churn through all of this right-of-way, which again, over 95 tracks, that we could be on schedule to begin construction in 2027. So South Water Phase 1 and 3, that is depicted here. Phase 1 is the section that's closer to downtown. Phase 3 is the section that's further away from downtown. Phase 2 is the section that was completed with ERA funds back about 15 years ago. So we have begun conceptual designs with this. You guys have already had some updates on this. I think I'll skip through it because we've had a lot of conversations on this one. We've had a lot of conversation on the next one, Lock 4 Road and Hancock Street roundabout, which is a developer-led and developer-funded project, but shows up on our list as an infrastructure add. Big Station Camp Boulevard Transportation Improvement District. I'm going to skip this one too because I've got that item next on the agenda and we'll go into detail there. So I'll pause on the roadway and just ask if you have any questions there.
I think you're good to move along.
Multimodal. So multimodal is sidewalks, greenways, trails, paths, things of that nature. They could include also bicycle facilities that maybe bike lanes. I got a great illustration to describe where the first 3 of these are on the list. The Vol State Gap Trail, Phase 1, Phase 1B, Phase 2A, Phase 2B, and you can see on the screen here that there are other pieces between the red and the green illustration here that is already a portion of trail built on the west side of Greenlee Boulevard. And then the West Side Market, or AKA the Target development, has plans to build the piece to the east side, which will get us connected. And so all of that will be connected. And then we've also had conversations, and you guys have approved plans about an extension of this trail going across the Gap apartment development. So very soon, within a few years, we'll have a large portion of trail that will extend almost from Blue Jay Way, Harris Lane, all the way down to Thorn Boulevard. And as the bridge project is developed over Station Camp Creek, we'll have the ability to make an easy connection into Nat Caldwell Park, which is pretty exciting to have a large portion of this trail that eventually will connect downtown to the Station Camp Creek trail that the county owns. So at different phases of this. The Vol State Gap Phase 1 is expected to go to construction next June or in the summer of 2026. We're a little bit further behind on 1B, 2A, 2B, but we're hopeful that we could begin construction for 2A, 2B very late next year, probably early 2027. And then 1B is something that is probably on a similar timeline with late 2026, early 2027. Next on the list is the Lock 4 multi-use trail. We just got our NEPA or environmental document approved, and we're waiting for TDOT to issue the notice to proceed to right-of-way, which will really hopefully kick this thing into gear. Usually the environmental stuff is the things that you have very little control over, and it takes way too long. So hopeful that right-of-way can move quickly, but we have penciled in right-of-way to still take 1 to 2 years. We put a worst-case scenario, we think, of 2 years, with construction beginning in 2028. And then finally, a project that you guys may be familiar with, but we had received another CMAQ grant that included a series of projects, we're called the Citywide Sidewalks Phase 2, which I'll walk through these slides real quick. The first one, there's 3 projects. The first one is along Long Hollow and Red River, expected to be on the south side of that road. That would connect Dorothy Jordan all the way down to the Howard Elementary School, and I think it's the Appalachian Pipeline office there that has a small piece of sidewalk that's constructed. The second segment of sidewalk is much smaller, but extends from the Gallatin Housing Authority properties on North Boyers across the R.T. Fisher School property, up North Boyers, up to East Jackson Street. And then finally, the third of the 3 sidewalks is along the west end of Coles Ferry Road that would connect sidewalks that are currently in place on South Water all the way out to Airport Road, where, again, there is a collection of sidewalks that's already there. So it's a very large project. Actually, it's almost a more than $4 million sidewalk project. But again, funded through state funds that are CMAQ funds, which actually are federal, going through the state. Altogether, we're talking about, again, with all these multimodal projects, over $13 million worth of projects, with a lot of that being state and federal funded. So the state and feds like to give money to go towards these kinds of projects. So pause there for that one, and let you ask any questions that you may have.
Might be putting everybody to sleep. Nick.
Awesome. TDOT-led projects, go super quick. You've seen this one before, 386 Long Hollow. The project still moves forward. This is the old rendition. They're not giving me any ability to release any new or new thoughts or ideas. This is what was in the document that was created a few years ago, which is a little bit different than I think what we're expecting. The city still has $7.2 million ask that is expected to come in a couple of years. The construction is scheduled for this project in FY31. So we're talking about late, I think it's December 3030 is the letting that it is scheduled to go in. So we're about 5 years away, according to TDOT's schedule right now. They are on schedule as of right now. Big Station Camp Boulevard signals. This project showed up a couple of years ago. The state had identified a safety issue with queuing potentially on 386 and decided that they would include a safety project within their safety program. So it's widening of the off-ramps for Big Station Camp Boulevard and adding traffic signals. This does go towards some of the improvements that we have scheduled in the Big Station Camp Boulevard TID. But the signals that are going to be put up are likely going to be temporary in nature because the TID plans to widen Big Station Camp Boulevard Bridge by quite a bit. And to try to coordinate and plan that, it may prove too difficult. So the expectation for construction, at this point, construction is funded by TDOT in their safety program in FY27. As we understand, it should be late 26, the calendar year 26, but FY27 that they take this to construction. National Pike Bridges, I've already mentioned both of them tonight. And as I had said a couple of weeks ago when Mr. Fennell asked about these projects, Station Camp and East Camp, the construction is proposed to be late FY26. So June, July, I think is when they're looking to go to bid. So construction later, probably more like November, December, like I had mentioned at the meeting when we were talking about Foxa Marina. So it is funded through the Improve Act with TDOT. The last one on the list, Airport Road Signals, it's under construction, expected to be completed by the end of the year.
Thank you, Nick.
Questions?
Any questions for him?
That's a lot to take
I
in.
think it might be a time to take a brief recess. Y'all want to
I
recess?
just have
for-
one quick question. I want to make sure I heard you well, because you went really quick on it. On the Longwood Park extension, the city is going to have to put 7.5 mil.
That is what is in our agreement with the State Highway Partnership Program agreement. Yes. Altogether, the city, if I remember correctly, we were around $8 million for our share, and the county was around $10 million, which the county already gave their full share to the project.
This turned out to be the Nick show.
We're not done yet.
Yeah, we're not finished yet. Okay, we will reconvene at, just say 8:30. And we are ready for item number 10, which is
17?
Oh, Lord have mercy,
10.
Motion to adjourn.
Ordinance
Kidding me.
02510-57.
Motion to adjourn.
Mayor, if you don't mind, I just want to make this statement and about our number 9, where we discuss the American Legion Veterans Home. My plan is to move forward with the condemnation unless I hear objections from this council. So I will leave it at that. We can wait for a couple of weeks if you guys want to bring it back up to the.
Yeah, I would rather
session.
wait.
Yeah.
Some,
It happened twice to our church. It's not a fun thing. There's people still
Yeah.
get a little dander raised when they think about how it constricted our property. Is there no other way? There's no other meetings?
Road has to go between those two buildings.
I think the biggest thing is they don't want to give up the property. I mean, I think they want to keep the property. I think that's their,
is the council able to approve and just extend and pay the amount that they're asking?
you don't want to do that.
Super slippery slope,
Yeah,
in my
okay.
opinion.
Gotcha. Okay, no worries.
You can't do that.
Just wanted to know.
I mean, if there were some other way to build that road, I mean, we would, and address the flooding problems, but if you're trying to address the flooding problems there and taking out the connection to,
And two, I think that they could, if that guy would work with them on that property next door.
We can't force that.
No, I'm just saying, though, they could work with him, not us. They could say, look, the city's willing to give me this, will you take this for that land or something, you know? So there's still other options out there. So we gonna bring it back up, is that what you said?
And the issue too is that
kind of
if we don't finish on time, we lose that grant.
Correct.
deadline.
Who, are you dealing with Ben? Is he one of them, Harris?
So I am
It
not
has to
dealing with
happen.
anyone.
Yeah.
By our policies, we have hired a professional negotiator, and he is fantastic. Ralph and Deborah Raymond is the name of the company. And so that's our point of contact as the city representative. And he does a fantastic job in working with property owners. So he has been our point of contact.
I think I share with everybody. It just don't feel good, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it never does, and particularly when it's a church. But then there's also the other side of that, that if you look at it, how can you I think about what we did with the Baptist Church on Smith Street, and they, worked with our negotiator, and we reached an agreement, and we've tried. I mean,
But we could
really-
try a little bit more is what Craig's saying.
Yeah, I agree to that too. I just
I don't know if
think
we-
about how I would feel if it were my church.
That's the issue.
Individual or a group?
Our point of contact has been the pastor of the church, but they have involved and had votes from their membership. And as I understood,
Generally, when it's something like this, you're still going to be looking at dealing with their board of trustees. The board of trustees is going to act and serve on behalf of the church, and they may direct the pastor to do A, B, or C, but it's not just going to be just the pastor. Generally, the board of trustees is going to weigh in heavily on that as well.
he's the point of contact, but they have taken a church-wide vote is the way that their congregation is assembled. And so they had a business meeting where the church as a body voted to accept or not. They have not. If they have it, they have not shared the appraisal with us. They shared what they felt like were comparable properties that were for sale or had been sold. And we went through that list, and either, again, one of the examples was the property for sale on the north side of their property, which was approximately what they were wanting us to pay for the piece that we were acquiring. However, that piece of property was 9/10 of an acre, and our acquisition was 3/10 of an acre. And so, I mean, when you look at the dollar per square foot or dollar per acre, however you want to calculate it, it wasn't comparable. And so we couldn't just say, okay, because you want this other property to replace the property that we're acquiring, we'll give you whatever the asking price is for that. It doesn't equate, if that makes sense. Ideally, that's what would happen here, though, that they would be able to acquire the property on the north and, still have the same or more property. I would love for that to happen, and I think we made a fair market offer, and actually we're generous in countering to try to meet their requests, and they were not willing to change their position. They felt like that was the number they needed to make them whole, I believe is the term that they used. So I'll add this to the next work session at the end of the month. And again, if you guys have any great ideas, then we can take that into consideration. But time is of the essence, and we need to have this item resolved before the end of the year if we're going to have a chance at actually constructing this project. Otherwise, again, I think the alternative is to punt the money back to the county, and we start over with whatever kind of project that we want to do or don't want to do. And so, okay, thank you. We'll move on to item number 10, if that's acceptable. Item number 10 is an ordinance appropriating a little over $1 million from money that has been received by way of the Big Station Camp Boulevard Transportation Improvement District. I included in your packet, first of all, the ordinance to appropriate this money that we have received. Second, we created a memorandum to summarize where this money is coming from and what our next steps are. Just super quick, and I can answer questions. The city of Gallatin set up a transportation improvement district, passed the ordinance in 2020, at the beginning of 2020, before the world shut down. And then as development has occurred up and down the Big Station Camp Boulevard corridor, developers have contributed to this point over $1 million. What we would like to do is appropriate that money, and we think the most logical next best step is to begin design of the widening of the bridge as one of the major kind of keystone projects that we're talking about within this corridor. So I'll leave it at that. Again, the memorandum, I think, gives you a lot more detailed explanation if you want to dig deeper.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Carter, a second by Councilman Juvance, to send ordinance 02510-57 on forward to council. Any questions, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Moves forward with unanimous support. Item 11.
All right, number 11, you don't have to listen to me so much anymore. I get to bring up two of our wonderful young staff members, Ms. Courtney Hopkins, our stormwater coordinator, and Mr. Ryan Fort, our stormwater project manager, will join me here to present the annual report. And then just shortly after that, we have a revision to our ordinance that we would like to present. So we'll start with the annual report. And just as a reminder, the City of Gallatin is responsible for a stormwater program, and we're permitted by the state of Tennessee to maintain this program, and we're here tonight to share this report as a requirement of that program. And I will stop and get out of the way and let Ms. Hopkins take the lead.
Hi, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members and the citizens of Gallatin. My name is Courtney Hopkins, and I'm the stormwater coordinator with the city. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present our stormwater program and annual report to you this evening. Both engineering and public works departments are committed to helping our communities successfully manage our growth, both for a healthy and sustainable economy, and to preserve all that Old Hickory Lake provides us in recreation, fishing, aesthetics, commerce, and most importantly, clean water. What is an MS4, you might ask? That stands for the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. It's a system of pipes, ditches, ponds, and conveyances which allow for the transport of stormwater, which ultimately discharges to Old Hickory Lake. And really, that ends up making its way all the way down to the Gulf. These programs are critical to the health of our environment and even play a role in our local economy. So we have a few program updates tonight. After this presentation, we'll have some proposed ordinance updates. That includes some supplemental land disturbance permits, and then post-construction implementation will be discussed briefly. So our waterways are vital to the community. This is our drinking water. This is where we like to play in the water, to recreate, to fish, to tour, and it's just something that brings vitality to any community, is to have, a beautiful, clean, fresh source of water. So to best manage stormwater, the Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation, or TDEC, charges the city with 6 minimum control measures. That's construction stormwater program, an illicit discharge and elimination detection program, post-construction stormwater program, municipal housekeeping, monitoring and record keeping, public education and outreach, and participation program. And if this presentation captivates you, you can find this on our website. So some program highlights are here, but the first element I want to talk about covers a broad spectrum, and that program area includes everything from engineering review of all types of plans, which Ryan Fort behind me does an amazing job doing, and drainage calculations to inspections and compliance review and documentation of active construction sites. So this past fiscal year, our stormwater project manager, Ryan Fort, reviewed over 720 plans, which is incredible. It's both challenging and rewarding to review new development design submittals and then later inspect these drawings as active construction sites. We try very hard to ensure that we keep environmental impacts to a minimum without hindering progress. But as you know, the city is under a construction boom right now. By the end of this past fiscal year, June 30th, we had 130 active construction sites. Our stormwater technicians, Rick Rorick and Jacob Sullivan, have done a great job managing this important program area and has successfully standardized the land disturbance process, improved communication, as well as successfully maintained a digital inspection system. Our next permit element includes our illicit discharge program. We've had 11 minor illicit discharge activities this past year, and we've resolved each one. I'd like to give a special thanks to Officer Anita Kemp and Codes Inspector Charles Durfleeker for contributing to an excellent working relationship between Codes and the Stormwater Division. The next program elements I'll mention are the post-construction stormwater program, the municipal housekeeping program, and the monitoring program. So something that has been a new requirement is for us to inventory all of our stormwater control measures, which are owned and operated by different property owners, organizations throughout the city, and that program has come to full development this year. Our housekeeping inspections have gone very smoothly, and we'd like to recognize that each department strives for excellence in good housekeeping practices. Each department has been really great to work with in facilitating these inspections, and it's apparent that pride is taken in each facility. So thank you to all of our facilities. That's facilities like the fire department, the police department, public utilities. All of these departments have to be in compliance with our stormwater standards, and we have to do inspections annually, and so they did a really great job of accommodating us on those inspections. Our stream monitoring program is currently underway, so the Stormwater Division has contracted professional services with Civil Environmental Consultants Incorporated and began sampling as recently as last week. That's sampling for E. coli, and they'll look at benthics, and they'll also be doing some visual assessments. So if you see people walking around looking at our streams, that's what they're doing. That happens once every 5 years. The post-construction program has also been developing that inventory like I discussed and stormwater control measures. And then again, those property owners and developers are responsible for maintaining these components of stormwater systems to ensure long-term functionality and ultimately a safe and healthy Gallatin, which is what we all want. And then finally, the most fun of our permit program elements is the public education, outreach, and participation program. Both engineering and public works are very happy to participate in programs that allow us to educate kids and adults about stormwater. We love stormwater programs, it's our favorite. We work alongside our citizens in the Cumberland River Compact in cleaning up streams and neighborhoods, hosting booths at career days, organizing an urban runoff 5K and water quality festival, and teaching kids about the critters in the creeks. I'd also like to recognize Diana Johnson with Public Works, who contributes this through our program. Public Works program has an Adopt a Street program, and that runs in parallel to our stormwater program for adopting a stream. And so what that does is it keeps litter off of our roadways, out of our gutter systems, and ultimately out of Old Hickory Lake. Finally, before I conclude, I would just like to mention that Public Works is amazing to work with on stormwater drainage projects under the leadership of Richard DePriest. Public Works stormwater personnel have such a special set of skills, excellent customer service, and in addition to Public Works, all of the departments have been incredibly accommodating and facilitating internal inspections as required by our permit. You have all made in Gallatin a rewarding experience and contribute to the excellence of water quality in our city. It can certainly be challenging to balance healthy growth while protecting and ensuring clean water for our city's future. We just really appreciate all of you for your participation and your contributions in keeping a healthy and clean and safer community. And does anybody have any questions?
My neighbor Paul said he cut some trees down in the creek up above me. Can you check that out?
I sure can.
I'm gonna abstain.
You can call our offices anytime if you have a concern, and we'll always go out and inspect and check that out.
Thank you, Ms. Hopkins. Beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, we'll move into the next item. This is an item to amend Chapter 18 of the Gallatin Municipal Code, which is our stormwater ordinance. So it does require a public hearing. I think we're gonna have to end up skipping a meeting because of the public hearing requirement, advertisement requirement. So there may be a delay as we go through the first reading, public hearing, second reading, but we should still be on track to get it adopted by the end of the year if there aren't any major issues. So in your packet, you have the full ordinance. This is a repeal and replace full ordinance because there were lots of changes. At the end of that full ordinance, you do have a one-pager that gives you a summary of what those changes are. And then after that one-pager, there's a more detailed table that I think is 3 or 4 pages that gives you the details of the changes. The highlights of those changes, one of the biggest things that people have talked about over the years has been bioretention. We call it, the bioretention is a measure that helps meet what is called a 1-inch runoff reduction measure. And that is currently the city's requirement, but TDEC has made an allowance to allow different types of infrastructure to satisfy water quality requirements, which for many folks, and I think the end user, which is going to end up being our HOAs and business owners, I believe this is a positive move in the right direction. We have had concern about the longevity and sustainability of bioretention, and so this gives options for folks that might be able to look at some other things besides bioretention. So that is one of the main things. Another big thing that we're looking at is some modifications to allow a permitting process like we talked about with the rock crushing activities. We have been in touch with TDEC and found that they actually have a permitting process for any kind of rock crushing activity as well. So we're trying to stay in touch with them and how to understand a little bit more about their program, because they just started doing this 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So with that, I think I'm probably leaving something out, so I'm going to turn to Ryan and Courtney and let them jump in and finish this thing up.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, council members. Thank you for having us here tonight. We'll be trying to briefly go over the ordinance here and then open up for questions afterwards if you all have any. And I'll go ahead and get started on the presentation. It was a separate PowerPoint, yeah. I'll go and just start with a brief overview. So what we're proposing are updates to our stormwater ordinance to align with current TDEC requirements and regulations, as well as updating some of our older things that are not really aligned with how we're currently trying to keep our city operating, especially with how the land disturbance permit is currently working. We're trying to add in some additional language in there to make it easier to work in the future. So the purpose, like I said, is to comply with the new TDEC CGP or construction general permit. And that, as Nick alluded to, includes a lot of the language about the water quality update. So TDEC has brought about this 80% TSS removal as the new standard for water quality control. And that is what the city will be adopting, is allowing for the 8% TSS removal. And TDEC has made a table for that to simplify the different methods. And we have included that full table in our ordinance as well. Another thing is to update any old languages, terms, and practices that are throughout the ordinance, and to create new policies to help with compliance. So in Article 2, that's a lot of our definitions. We've made some minor tweaks here and there. We've adopted some language directly from TDEC. We've mirrored some language from municipalities around this area and from Metro Nashville as well. So that's where a lot of our language and definitions updates come from. Article 4 is with our LDP surety. We are combining some of the different stormwater regulation boards that were proposed in the ordinance into just one stormwater board. So instead of having 2 or 3 separate ones, now if there's ever a need to call for a stormwater appeals board, there's only one board to go to, not 2 or 3. Article 5 is the land disturbance permit. We're defining a term limit for the LDP to 3 years, which we've currently been recommending anyways for development, because as active development projects go on for multiple years, we like to have a cutoff line that if they are still developing, we can work with them to extend that permit length. But if for some reason they've slowed down on development or are dragging their feet, we have a cutoff date to say this is when it expires and you have to come back and get a new permit. So that way we can try and get them actually to move forward with construction, not just keep stuff held out for 3 or 4 years or indefinitely, because there's currently no limit to the LDP, and that can be an issue in some cases. Another thing is to create a separate mass grain land disturbance permit plan type. So in the InterGov portal, there's currently only one land disturbance permit. There have been 2 different methods of land disturbance that we've been doing in the city, where we have mass grain permits to allow developers to go in while their construction plans are being reviewed and get some mass grading done and get set up for a full construction project before they get to their full LDP. Now we're just trying to make that a separate permit, so it's no longer confusing. Is this a regular LDP or mass grain permit? They're just going to be 2 different permit types to help clarify on our end. And the other thing here is to create a supplemental rock crushing LDP.
So the purpose of the supplemental permit for rock quarrying and crushing is to mitigate the amount of dust that occurs from rock crushing and processing. And the way that stormwater handles that is by having best management practices in place. We can't regulate air quality, but we can mitigate how much dust gets into the air by requiring things like a watering truck with a watering schedule, and other best management practices depending on the size and nature of the activity. So that's really the purpose of the rock crushing permit, is to help mitigate that dust when rock crushing does take place. and make sure that they have those best management practices in place.
And then that was all from Article 5 that we are proposing to change. So moving on to Article 6, the stormwater standards, we're adding in the new construction general permit language from TDEC about the water quality standards, allowing for their table that they have for their 80% TSS removal. And we also added in a bunch of the language that they provide for us in their CGP permit. And we're redefining applicability for clarification when it comes to water quality standards. We had some of these discussions in Planning Commission, and I gave a presentation earlier this year about that. What we're really trying to do here is to provide better clarification for when and where water quality and detention are being required for development projects as they go on. And in concurrence with that, we are also proposing a new permit type to be implemented, the residential infill development permit, which mimics what Metro Nashville is currently doing in their municipality to try and allow for an easier way to regulate different infill development projects on smaller scales rather than a full development project that might be 5+ acres. This will be mainly for adding in garages or making additions to properties, things that are in the about 5,000 to 10,000 square foot of impervious area increase. That's kind of what we're trying to look at. And this permit will allow for any homeowner or applicant for it to go through some of the currently established protocols in Metro Nashville that will be adopted into our engineering, design, and construction manual later this year with the subregs. And those will kind of prevent or allow prototypes or layouts for 4 different, I think is how I have it currently set up, ways to mitigate your water quality and detention. This includes like increased landscaping, water quality swales, vegetative buffers, rain gardens, some smaller scale things that homeowners can do on their own. And this also allows them to do the calculations, and it's a real easy like spreadsheet to work through, so they don't have to get the services of an engineer just to do a small increase to their house. They have an easier method to mitigate their own water quality and detention without having to do a broad design. And Article 8 are the nets changes that we're proposing.
So the purpose for this update is to meet compliance standards with the 2022 MS4 permit. So these standards were put in based on that permit update from the state. So it is a requirement that we include the new MS4 language for water quality standards, which echoes what's in Article 6, which we previously discussed, and adds an inclusion of water quality buffers for clarity. No big substantial change on water quality buffers, just clarifying language that was added.
And I think those were all the major changes that we have. As Nick mentioned further in your presentation, I think from pages 164 to 166 of your packet, those are the full in-depth details of the changes that are made on each page that Courtney put together. And if you have any questions, we'll open up the floor this time. Yes.
Just a comment. I'm glad you're getting rid of the bio retention because of what I heard from developer. That was one of the main concerns because it's probably the most expensive stuff they had to do. So you're going to make some happy people right there. Thank you.
Questions, comments, y'all?
Motion to send it on to council.
Okay, motion by Councilman Carter. Second by Councilman Javance. Any further discussion? So ordinance 02510-58, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Moves forward with a unanimous vote.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so very, very much. Okay, now we're moving down to 15? Yeah. Ordinance 15, no, item number 15, ordinance 02510-61, an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, enacting a temporary hold on accepting and processing new rezoning applications until June 1, 2026 to allow time for the city's new zoning code to be adopted, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning ordinance, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So we've had a lot of discussion on this already, even before it's gotten to you officially on your agenda. This has been before the Planning Commission and did receive a negative vote. There were 2 votes to vote to not recommend, 1 vote against that motion, and then 1 abstention out of the 4 planning commissioners that we had present. So there was not a positive recommendation coming forward from Planning Commission to you all for passing this. As I stated previously, after hearing the Planning Commission's objections to the concepts of the moratorium or temporary hold, as we renamed it, it was my desire to just withdraw completely on that. I still hold that sentiment, so I'm not interested at this point in carrying this forward unless you guys are of the opinion that it needs to be. We feel as the planning department that there's plenty of capability at taking care of this in other ways and not holding up rezonings. And really it was only gonna have an effect on us having to change the map a few times, which in consultation with our consultants takes a few clicks on, it's electronic mapping. So it's not a huge change or not a lot of time actually invested in doing this. So from our standpoint, we're okay if this dies and doesn't go forward.
Motion to send to council.
Motion to decline first.
Motion to what?
Decline. Deny.
Not approve.
Motion is second on that side. So I guess discussion or questions on that?
Well, I think this is not really like a moratorium because we can still decline somebody rezoning a piece of property. So to me, this is not really like a moratorium anyway on high density or anything like that, kind of like what Hendersonville did, right?
No, it was never intended to be that. It was not even a moratorium on action by the city council. It was a moratorium on accepting and receiving those new applications.
Right.
That was it. But as far as, withholding the ability from someone to be able to do a high density or do a development in general, that was never the intent. It was just to keep things clean as we go forward with the rezoning process of our new code and the zoning map changes that would have to be made after the code was adopted. So.
I have our draft back. I think Ms. Bates and I have concerns about another potential industrial project. And I actually was notified today by someone who just signed a contract on a commercial project last week. And they're like, what on earth are y'all doing? Because it has base zoning, but it's consistent with our plan. And so he didn't think there'd be a problem with getting it rezoned because it was consistent with Plan Gallatin, but he said, I'll lose my contract if it gets delayed until next June, so.
And I also, I know you'd relayed to me some info this morning at our department head meeting that you'd received multiple calls over the weekend about, developers concerned about this.
Yeah, as I had the calls, I think some of it was just didn't understand, but that one specific is the one that I just relayed that could potentially affect something that we actually would desire here, So it comes down to, I fear more than I think it could help us, I feel it could hurt us, But we just, we don't know, and we don't know how long it's going to take to enact the code, and so.
And we'll have to get comfortable enough anyway with making those changes to the zoning map as we go forward. Each change that we make after the fact will just be another essence of doing this once again. So we'll need to know exactly what the steps are involved with doing that anyway. And it's easy enough to take those steps as we go.
My reason for a motion for decline is based on what he said in the planning committee and here too, that he can work around this without having this.
Thank you, Mayor. We were unanimous in the previous vote. Am I remembering correctly? Mm-hmm. This council 7-0 said we're okay with the hold.
It was unanimous as far as when I
6-0, 7-0
when I
something.
asked about it
I was
initially.
actually 6-0, and
Yeah,
I
and
think-
then,
6-0.
Send it to planning.
I think he's absent.
For me to move it through the process to planning and then back to you.
I have a question. Was it just an off meeting for the planning commission? I mean, 2 votes, is that a majority?
Well, they had 4 there. How many's on planning commission?
They had 4. They had 4. Two voted against it, 1 for, and Councilman Fan abstained,
Was
if
an
I remember
abstention.
well.
That's when I read this recommendation, I'm like, that's a really weak recommendation when only 2 people are proposing it. It just seems,
I'd like to send it back to planning.
But remember that followed when he initially took it back to them, and they said, you remember that first discussion, and they were basically like, we don't need to
The first
consider
meeting we
this.
had, I think 6 or 7 members present, and it had still been very much negative. More people in opposition to it than for it.
Yeah, but again, I listened to the first meeting because I was not there and I was in a room for the second meeting. The first meeting, the only people who were talking was the vice chair and the chairman, who are actually developers, so they are against it. And the second meeting was just the vice chair was adamant opposed to it, again, because what I see that's they have something coming in a pipe and they don't want that to impact their staff. That's all I see. And, you know, a question I have for Councilman Fan is that you abstain on that vote, so why now are you putting it against it? That's...
As time goes on and you rethink things sometimes, and
Microphone on, yeah.
pardon?
Sorry?
Making sure he had his microphone on.
That, to me, that's not a fair question because liquor vote, y'all flip-flopped on that. Why were you for it one time and then next time you weren't?
But I've
That's not a
noticed it's
fair
okay
question.
for him to do that. but-
No, that's what I'm saying, but that's not a fair question for you to ask that question. You can ask it all day you want to, but you've done the same crap.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's have discussion relevant
At
to
least
the
I was there
topic.
for the meetings in my
Let's keep it
district.
relevant to the
I
topic.
heard flip-flop.
At least I've got family and I can go vacation.
Again, I go back to, you know, what I said, my reasons for being concerned about it now are different than what they were then, which is largely related to, you know, concerns that it could inhibit projects that could be very beneficial to our city. I don't think any of us cares about moving any housing forward in any expedient way, but when it comes to commercial and industrial, I think that's the responsible thing to be concerned about. And I appreciate that, you know, you learned how you guys could navigate it without it being as cumbersome as you first thought it would be. And that was pretty much how you thought that you would, after talking to the planning commission the first time about it, you thought that you would proceed because you had that perspective. And then, well, you know how it happened. So we're back here now with the negative recommendation from the planning commission, and we have a motion to deny and a second, and we are still on discussion or any questions relevant to that. Just summarize and get us back on track.
I like what you said. I mean, we appreciate the fact he was able to work around this.
I have to say I'm not surprised, but, you know, again, that was sent unanimous, actually six against 1 abstention, and you know, as soon as developers complain, everything changed, but
We've also changed our mind too, so why does it matter?
But I don't,
Get on with it. People change their minds, people discover more information.
I can say whatever
Get
I
things
say.
all the time that helps us to become more informed and to have a better opinion about things that we think need to go on in the city of Gallatin. We're all welcome to change our mind. It's nothing to sit up here and debate about.
There's an old cliche I'd like
Call the
everybody to
question.
remember.
Second, motion to call for the question.
Okay.
And roll call, please.
A roll call and call for the question?
I'm seconding Councilman Juvance's motion to call for the question.
Okay. All right, non-debatable, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No. Roll call.
Called for the question, then you voted no?
Yeah, and I call for a roll call.
I don't think that's necessary because there were 6 for calling for the question and 1 against.
The call for the question vote was just on whether we're going to call for the question. Were you voting no on the call for the question?
That you said?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm confused. I thought he seconded the call for the question, then
Made
you
the
voted against it.
Motion.
to call for the question.
Okay, and then you seconded it, and then you voted against it.
He voted against it.
I know.
I
I don't understand. Anyway, the question has been called, and so let's go ahead and vote on.
So the motion is to deny. So a yes vote means we don't want to pass this ordinance on.
Correct. Correct. So this is ordinance 02510-621, and I'm going to ask all in favor to say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, and so are there abstentions? I have 5-2 with Councilman Alexander and Councilman Juvance voting no. Is this correct? Okay. So it is denied then, to move forward to council. That's what we're voting on. So that was item 15. Okay. Now we're moving on to 16, which is resolution R2510-72, a resolution of the city of Gallatin authorizing the city to submit an application to annex a 3.56 parcel into the city located north of East Broadway and east of Dobbins Pike. And Mr. Rose.
Yep. Just jump to my slides here. So this is a portion of property that the city recently acquired next to Triple Creek Park. There is a county island right in that area. And of course, this portion of property that the city acquired was not, it's part of that county island, but we want to bring that into the city so that it can be added to Triple Creek Park and be within city limits. We need city council's permission because you're the property owner, so we need your permission to apply. So similar to how we would bring forward a request, a petition essentially to be able to apply for annexation, we're asking for you to grant your permission for us to take this through the process of annexation. Again, it's 3.56 acres, and that's about it.
Motion to sit on the council.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilman Carter. Are there any questions, any discussion?
Can I just make a statement because I was just asked a question? So what you're doing here is, because it's for the city, it's city property, you're allowing the city to file the application with planning. You're giving your consent that you want to file an application for annexation. That's what this vote is for.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Motion is second to move forward. Any further questions? Councilman Juvance.
City or private, same thing. Repeat myself. I can't vote for any annexation.
Questions, any discussion? Okay, this is Resolution R2510-72. All in favor of moving forward to council, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Does move forward with a vote of 6-1. Item number 17, ordinance 02510-54. I thought we were going to get one last show.
It's already gone.
Amending Gallatin Municipal Code, Chapter 9, Fire Protection Prevention, Article 3, Standards. Welcome to the podium, Mr. Howell.
Mayor, council members, before you have a ordinance to amend City Municipal Code, Chapter 9, and the fire protection and fire prevention articles. This has been a collaborative group effort from the fire department. Of course, you see Chief Beeman is standing here with us. They approached us about trying to trying to fix this situation with cars parking on the sides of the roads and all this type of situation. We have also spoken with planning, engineering, and the police department. We have had several meetings with them, and I believe you have this in your packet as well. And basically what we're looking at is trying to, on new construction after this is adopted, or amended, excuse me, to widen the streets. And I'll just run through a couple of them here. It will amend them to be 20-foot unobstructed width with no designated roadway parking. Then we have 28 feet of 28 feet with designated parking on one side, 34 feet with designated parking on both sides, and 20-foot unobstruction and alleyways. This is for fire access, and fire access is from the fire station to the point of the fire. And I'll let Chief Beeman kind of elaborate a little bit more on that. Also, what this does is in the Section G of this allows us to increase the fine with no parking from $25 to $50. And according to our city attorney, that's as much as we can go up on that. So, and allow in Section B, I'll go back to Section B here. What that is for no parking signs. They can either have no parking signs, or we can paint on the curbs in red and put no parking. But we did put in here that if they wanted to have custom decorative no parking signs, that would be at no cost to the city. And I'm going to let Chief Beeman speak as well.
Thank you, Brad. One of the reasons to support this change in our code is for access for ladder fire trucks, and we're taking into consideration now the change in strategy and tactics to where if the ladder truck needs to set up, and I'll use my subdivision as an example, that it requires a 20-foot space for the outriggers to deploy, and only having a 20-foot row of parking on one side prevents the apparatus from setting up, in an area where we're experiencing a fire. So we looked at, how do we allow parking on one or both sides of the streets and the width that we need for placement of apparatus, and we came up with these recommendations here. And the best way to support this is if the fire truck can get through, the other emergency vehicles can get through as well. So both law enforcement and Sumner County EMS will benefit from this change in policy as well. And I stand here to answer any questions.
Motion sent to council.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Juvent, second by Councilman Alexander. Opening for discussion, questions.
This has been needed for a while.
Yes, sir.
I prefer 20-foot streets and no parking. It's less for the city to take care of long-term, and it looks better. Councilman Juvent.
Thank you for bringing that, because I've been talking about that for years. The streets were not wide enough in new development. I just have stuff maybe to look at. 968B, I know you guys work together, but say installation of no parking sign, blah, 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 shall be designated by the fire official who shall be the sole authority regarding the adequacy of same. I think we should add in something like in coordination with the fire chief or fire representative, to make sure it's not just one.
Councilman Juvent, I believe using the term fire official allows both the fire marshal and the codes director to have influence on this ordinance.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Chief.
Anyone else? Mr. Howell, I bet you were less nervous presenting 17 than you otherwise would have been this evening.
That's affirmative.
All in favor of moving forward to ordinance 02510-54 forward to council, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Moves forward with unanimous support. Item number 19 is resolution R2510-74, resolution confirming appointments of Gallatin Municipal Board zoning appeals members. I still have, I think, one opening on that board to fill, but reappointing Sarah Holman and putting Dick Dempsey on there. And Dick used to be the chairman of the planning commission. He said he'd be willing to do this, and I think that is a great person to put in that role. Dick Dempsey. Yeah. Yeah. So I was pleased that he's willing to do that. And then Sierra, well, he was planning before, and this is zoning appeals. So, yeah. So, and then Sierra Holman is going to be extended on that. So,
He was mayor for a day.
Dempsey was. Oh wow. I entertain a motion.
Have a motion.
Motion by Vice Mayor Hayes, second by Councilman Carter. Any questions, any discussion? Councilman Shabazz.
I'm going to abstain because, as every time, I don't know these people. I don't know what they're doing. I would appreciate if we can get a resume on a package or something, because maybe you know them, I don't, so I would like to know who I'm voting for. So I'll be
Holman's been
abstaining.
serving for several years, and Mr. Dempsey was the Planning Commission chairman for a long time, very long time. So, anyway, motion second. Any further questions? All in favor of moving forward resolution R2510-74, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Does move forward, 6 with 1 abstention. Now we'll move to item number 20, discussion regarding process for facilitation of supporting AV elements by council members for display at meetings. Mr. Fennell is recognized.
First, I'd like to say that I'm not against any council member wanting to put anything on the screen. We know we had an issue back, I guess, 3 or 4 weeks ago, just trying to avoid another issue. How we come to that was several meetings ago, I know that there was a couple of items that was wanted to put on the board, and I think maybe those items wasn't of relevance of what we was discussing at the time. And then I remember the mayor speaking up and saying she didn't have a problem with putting anything at all on the board, but would you just run it by me first, or Susan? It might have been Susan. I don't remember that. And I thought at the time that there was a policy or some kind of guardrail in place as to how we go about that, but apparently not. My thinking is, Jeff and Jenna, they come in here before the meeting, and I think that we need to give them sufficient time rather than throwing something at them at that time to have to work it into the schedule. I also think for liability issues that something, and I'm thinking out loud, something might need to go in front of Susan to let her look at it, make sure that it is relevant to what we are discussing. And I think somewhat it might be somewhat unfair that if somebody comes in here with maybe, say, a lecture or something that we don't really want to listen at. I know we're here a long time and stuff, and we try to get out of here, but I'm just trying to stop a problem. I feel there's a train coming down that track, and I think it's some housekeeping issues that we need to address. Even at the time that we did have the problem the other night, I know that the mayor spoke up and said, we'll put it to a vote. I don't think she was trying to be mean or trying to silence anybody, but, I've seen that problem happening, and I seen that problem coming, and it did happen. I just think that we need to address that issue and get something in place. I feel that maybe we could set a policy that the day before that it needs to be turned into Susan's office. I hate to throw Susan under the bus, but she is our legal but let Susan look at it, make sure it's appropriate, or we could also do something that the night of it, we could find out what that is, and we could take a vote as this council goes to see if we want to see it or not. I think that pictures would be beneficial in some situations, but I don't think trying to use it as a platform to make somebody look bad, I don't want to see that happening. I mean, that's happening every day out in social media, and of course, I guess I was on much of it last week myself. One thing I don't appreciate is being called a minion. You know, I've never collected a paycheck, or I've never had a boss in my adult life. I've always been a boss and worked for myself. But that's beside the point. So I'm open to listen to anybody out here if on the council has any suggestions or.
Need a motion to move it to council and discuss it, or can we do it now?
Let's do it now. I mean, honestly, I don't think this is a conversation or discussion we should be having. I just ended a term serving as a president of my alumni chapter, and I certainly asked when I put the agenda out there for individuals in our chapter that wanted something added to the agenda or to be discussed. I did ask for them to send that information to me so that I can review it and put it on the agenda. I, again, don't think the mayor is wrong, as she is the presiding officer over the meetings. We should be able to respect that she is going to do the right thing, and we should be able to give that information to her. However, if it is absolutely necessary that we go down this road and have this discussion, I guess I would support having some type of policy in place to protect us. But I mean, I think it's as simple as us being cordial to one another and respecting that she is running this meetings. Same thing with the vice mayor. If he has to preside over the meetings, send that information, let it be observed so that it's able to be put on the agenda and we don't have conflicts.
Do we need to do a timeline, like a day before the meeting or something like that, rather than just doing it, walking in here and doing it?
If we're going to adopt a policy, the mayor has a job to do. She has a busy schedule. Ms. High McCauley has a busy schedule, so no, we shouldn't say just give it to them the day before. What if they have a family emergency and have to leave the day before? It's not fair that they have to come back and try to worry about this. If we're going to say it, I think maybe 72 hours in advance.
Okay. That's what I'm asking.
Can we just make a policy that needs to be on the agenda? Would that be easy?
Guess we could settle it tonight with a vote, couldn't we?
72 hours sometimes is about the time the agenda comes out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I still think the day before is fine. I mean, because, and I don't think it needs to go to Susan. It needs to go to the mayor's office.
Right, as she is
Let them do
presiding
it.
over the meeting.
And then, you know, there might be a situation too, say, I don't know, this could happen. Say she doesn't agree with it. There needs to be an option to where it can come back and we could vote on it.
Well, yeah, that's fine.
You know,
That's a good point.
that's my point. She might not agree with it because she might not be able to, I might bring something. She might say, I don't like you or something, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, we're not going to do that.
The other thing on that,
Then
too,
we could come back and do, vote on it.
And with that, if
Never done that for the record.
If the mayor decides she's like, hey, I don't agree, then there is that backup option.
Yeah.
We come in and we say, hey, we take a vote on it. But again, I still think that's a catch-22, because if the mayor doesn't agree, we're not going to be privy to what information is wanting to be presented.
Susan, how much time do you think you need?
She's not involved.
It shouldn't go to Susan. Susan does not preside over the meetings. And she should not have to babysit us grown adults. She's an attorney, not a babysitter.
I'm a babysitter a lot of days.
Clearly, right now.
I just find it interesting that just less than a week after legal counsel from the mayor agreed not to impede me on any way after they proposed exactly what Sean Fennell just said, to send it to Susan or the mayor. Suddenly it's brought back here. I won't send anything to the mayor or to Susan, because by personal experience, something I sent to the mayor and copy on legal got leaked to a guy we have an order of protection against. So and he put it exactly word for word on social media after I sent an email to the mayor and legal. So I won't send anything there. All right? You can do a policy if you want, but I will advise you to consult legal before that. That's all I'm going to say tonight.
I don't know of anything, I mean, I don't know what legally come out of the challenge that you made that you was going to sue the mayor for what she done. I mean, I don't know of any of the legality
Please
issues.
don't say what she done, because I didn't do anything, and I want to be
Okay, sorry.
perfectly clear about that.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I just feel that we need something into place so that we don't get into a shouting match and have problems again, because
I
I'm
don't
sure
want any more temper tantrums, that's
no
for
more
sure.
temper tantrums. So what's the rest? I mean, I think what Stephen said is good. So what happens if we vote this and we decide to put this in place, and then we have somebody that wants to challenge it and come up here and try to put something on? Then they're not allowed to.
If you want to put a policy like that, that policy needs to be for every document put on the screen. That means that need to be approved for every document who's going to go to every meeting, planning, coming from developers, coming from everybody, okay? If you don't want to do that, but again, we had an agreement via legal counsel a week ago. So I just,
I don't know
that's
what
what
the agreement
that's
was.
all I have to say.
I'm just trying to say that I see that train coming down the track again, and I think we need to address something. I mean, legally, I don't know what was discussed or not. I have no
Typically,
idea.
anything that is shown on the screen during a meeting via, whether it's from developer or from department, it's gone through a department of the city. It's gone through a higher department head. You know?
But you're trying to run this meeting, and how can we restrict you from running the meeting? Is this legal questions I'm answering? No? Do we have the right to put a policy in place? We do, okay.
I mean, yes, you are the legislative body. You can make house rules for most anything, so you can have a policy.
I'm not doing this to try to keep somebody from putting something up on the screen. I just want to make sure it's something of purpose that we're discussing at the moment. But I think it needs to be something that not just dropped on the Jeff and Jenna at the spur of the moment. I mean, that's just all I'm trying to do here. You guys agree with me or not?
No, you just try to stop me of putting
No, I'm
anything
not.
on the screen.
No, I'm not.
How many times you put something on the screen since you have been there?
Me?
Yeah,
Never.
exactly. So,
How many times you put something on the screen that wasn't right?
never.
That's not right.
So what did I put on the screen was not right?
I think you showed a picture of a rock quarry one time that wasn't even relevant to what we was discussing. I don't remember the other one, but she challenged you at that point, right?
So
And she
find
was
it and
nice
show it
about
to
it.
me.
She said, hey, this is not relevant. You know, let's not do this. Let's turn around and I don't care if you put something up on the screen, but make sure that it brought to me where I can look at it and make sure it's something appropriate, something that is relevant to what is going on. That's all she was asking. And then she turned around and asked if we can take a vote on it and let the council vote if it's up there or not. I mean, I don't
just
think it's
said- I
being
just said
rude
what I have
or
to say. You do
trying to
whatever you
silence
want.
anybody.
You do whatever you want. What I can tell you is that the agreement was made, and if this agreement is not respected, there will be consequences. That's all I can tell you.
Threats.
So-
That's another threat.
Councilman Hayes.
That's keeping her from doing her duties.
No, she knows exactly that if the agreement we had, it's not respected, the
Do not
lawsuit will be
speak
filed.
for me. Do not say what I know or what I think or what I believe, because you do not know what I
So
think.
if you didn't talk to your legal, that's not my, that's an issue somewhere. But what I can say is that
Not
the agreement
necessary.
between your
If you want to
legal and
proceed
my
with the
legal
process,
is
it
that,
is this body's right.
if the agreement you agree through your legal representation is not followed, the lawsuit will be filed. And I will go for it. And that's not a threat, it's a fact.
You were not listening to Ms. Hamacali's comment, apparently, and whatever you, I mean,
You making a motion?
I don't know what to do.
there are,
I swear.
anybody
I
can
mean,
have
I-
any rules that
it's
they
always
want. I
threatening a
personally
lawsuit.
think that we should have one for respectful behavior, but, here we are. You can set any rules that you want for anything. The challenge with this particular issue is there are so many bodies that do not have the technology, and so they haven't been exposed to it. A lot of the places that I have talked to that have this issue, they're like, why is it an issue? Because they just send it to them before the meeting, so it can be loaded on the computer, and it's not a big deal. And somebody's vote to show something, and some just are shown with it being sent to someone in advance. So that's how it's done with my exposure other places. But like I said, you can't even do it everywhere. So I don't care. I just want to take care of our technical people. We have a situation with people feeling uncomfortable, and they're not there to feel that way. And so I want to make sure that they're treated with respect and not put in the middle of anything. And there's also, I mean, just even tonight, you had, I'm looking at Mr. Henschel, you had a lot of things that you had on the computer that you're over there trying to switch, same time that you're running 2 cameras. And one person bringing materials, not a big deal, but say 7 people were bringing materials, it's a big deal. So,
Well, I mean, I was trying to do something simple, and it seems like everything gets spun.
Here's the thing, we've already said that, if we need to have something, show it to you before. I think everybody, 6 of us are gonna respect that. That's fine.
y'all can
And-
vote each time. I
And
don't
if you
care.
don't, what we can do is we can just vote on it. If somebody brings some up and they didn't show it to her, we don't have to let them put it up there. We can just vote on it.
Okay.
But also, when y'all say, a lot of times when you're saying mayor and her and whatever, it's not just me as mayor, it's the person that is the mayor of the city of Gallatin and the body that is the city council of Gallatin. So I'm thinking in perpetuity, how do you run meetings well when everything, is getting derailed? So that's why I think rules in the future will need to be created.
Is there any way to put a policy in if somebody acts like a crybaby and leaves a meeting, that we could do that?
I'm not going to comment on that one.
Let's stay on track. Like,
Yeah.
look at number 20, let's be reminded what we're discussing.
Yeah, I don't even know where we are.
Greg, you want to do a motion, and I'll second it? Well, you spoke a good,
That was just a statement. I mean, I think we all know that. I don't think we have to have a motion. I don't think we have to put anything in place. I just think it's out of respect.
okay.
The person is chairing the meeting, so.
I'm good with that. All right.
Talking about the vote, right?
And if they don't, then, we'll vote on it. Somebody brings something up and they didn't get with her, hey, Mayor, did they do it? We don't have to let them do it.
Okay. All right, I'm finished.
That's not anything that y'all have voted on. It's not anything in writing.
Do we need to put that on, do we need to put it to a vote? No? Okay.
Other council opinions?
Other business.
Okay, we're going to move on to other business, but
I have something.
I know, me too. Building codes into the year
Wait,
report.
I have something.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Sorry. Y'all took me too fast. So, guys, on a positive note, I've partnered with the Sumner County branch of the NAACP and Fremont Lodge number 270 to host a spectacular trunk or treat event on Halloween Day, Friday, October 31st from 5:30 to 8 p.m. So if you guys would like to donate some candy, just see me and get it brought. Thank you.
Any other business?
It's the lodge.
Okay,
Hollis
department
Rutledge is
head
one of their
reports. Mr. Stewart. Final appearance. Shot video, oh, well, I guess it's on camera, eh, Kat?
Thank you, Mayor. I placed on your, in front of your computer there today, the end of year for 24-25 voting report. If you have any questions, be free to call us, but if you look at the revenue and construction valuation, that one report right there tells it all. There was over $900 million invested in Gallatin in construction valuation, and we brought in over $4 million in fees this year. If you notice the charts there, you'll see the dip early. That was due to an election year, a national election year, construction dips. It always has and always will. It's just something that happens. Like I said, we'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have. Just give us a call if you would. We'll try to get this meeting over with quicker. My last meeting. This is my last one. So, you know, I want to tell you all, thank you. Mayor, you've provided excellent leadership. You've been my mayor, except for a short period of time that Ms. Graves was the mayor when I came here. They brought an old boy out of South Louisiana thinking they done brought a guy out of the swamp up here, but what they don't realize is I've spent more than 50% of my life in Tennessee, in Middle Tennessee. I was in the construction industry here, and I decided to go back down there to take care of aging parents. I come back here for a retirement job thinking I'd stay 3 to 5 years. I liked it so much. I've loved it here. It's been great. Thank you, council, for your support. You know, bringing budgets to you, bringing code adoptions to you, you really need that support. You showed your support tonight when you brought Mr. Howell in as your building official. This department is one of the tops in the state, if not the top department. We're code 24s, which is the most recent code published. The state's still 5 or 6 years behind us. Okay, state law says we have to be within 7 years of the state. If they adopt, when they adopt, they'll go to 21, we're on 24. So it'd be at least 7 to 10 years before the code has to be adopted again. So the contractors, the developers, they know what they've got for quite a while here. And I'd like to thank all these contractors here that dealt with us, developers, design professionals. It's been a dream. You know, we don't have problems here. And when I got this department, Mr. Hayes knows, he was on that first council that hired me. This department had a mess going on. We were operating in the red. Nobody was happy. Contractors wasn't happy. And now they're happy out there. And I will say this, without hesitating at all, some of the better built projects in Tennessee, residential and commercial, are being built in Gallatin. They're held to a standard. And they will all, again, thank all of you. That's all I know to do, say thank you, because you've been that good to me since I've been.
How long's it been? How many years?
I'd start 14 if I stuck around in January.
Yeah, I still remember the Zoom meeting when we were interviewing you. I remember that.
You remember that
You
phone
almost
call?
lost my vote because somebody was walking behind you. It might have been Catherine, the LSU paraphernalia in the background.
Yeah, she had the UT stuff on when she walked by.
Yeah, yeah. But I saw the LSU.
You remember that phone call you called me down there?
Yeah.
and I don't mind telling the story. He called me and said, I own an insurance company, so I run a background on you. Yeah, he said, you owe the IRS $1 million. I said, yeah. He said, what for? I said, ex-wife. He went, I know exactly what you're talking about. But it's been,
You've done a phenomenal job.
hey,
We
appreciate
hate to see you go, but I know that the young man back there, he'll step in your shoes and do a good job.
The staff here is phenomenal, okay?
You've trained them well. Or they've trained you well.
They've
I don't
trained
know.
me well.
Do you still have your parties?
Yeah, I'm not gonna stop that. Good night. That's been going on for 50-something years.
Jack, I remember first time I met you and we talked philosophies and planning, and at the time, investment in Gallatin was very, very different than it is now. And I was really concerned about the business community and the ways that I thought we as a city could help. And I watched you do that. I watched you kind of shift the whole perspective of the inspectors and the, permit techs and everybody that serves the development public in such a way that they take great pride in helping them get the best product built in the most expedient and thus cost-effective manner. And you're really well respected. Just this morning, for council's benefit, Ms. Bates shared that she was with MLRO's people no, you weren't, Josh was, right? Over the weekend, and MLRO's was just praising Gallatin Codes Planning and Engineering and what a pleasure we had been to work with and how on the ball we were and how professional we were and how there was no city around here that did it as well as our development departments. And I think you were a huge part of that. And your experience, your expertise, your personality, it all came together to work for a lot of people to find good careers, but also to work for the people investing in our community and the people that are living in our community. So, gosh, we're going to miss you.
I'm gonna miss all of you. I'm not gonna miss 10 o'clock meetings.
Yeah, nor
He's like, let's get out of here.
none of us would.
I'd like to say one thing that Chuck done, that I built a few houses back before he got here and after he did, and he put a consistency in the department. Before, it was one way one day, one way the next.
That's what will be carried through, because I think
Well,
everybody
Chuck,
believes in that.
As long as Kat keeps cooking those turnip greens, I'll stay your friend.
Hey, I thought you liked my turnip greens. Miss Nichols,
Y'all both make good turnip greens.
thank you.
And you keep cooking and I'll be your friend.
The August financial reports are in your packet. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have on them. Same.
Sorry.
The last item is discussing the Tennessee Municipal Bond Fund Program and the projects that we would like to fund through it. When we did the GO bond resolution, I mentioned that I would be bringing another instrument forward that we want to give a try. This is not something that we've previously used, but we do think it has an advantage because it works very similar to a construction loan. You only pay interest on the dollars that you've drawn down. Someone mentioned it's similar to a line of credit, which, yes, it is, but municipal governments aren't allowed to have lines of credit, so we can't call it that. But it operates very similarly. Until you draw the money down, you don't have to pay interest cost. We have a list of projects that were on the capital improvement plan and that were included in the budget that just by the nature of them, they tend to move a little slower. So we thought those would be ideal to use on this program, since we wouldn't have to be paying interest on money that we have not yet drawn down. My question to you is, do you want to fund 2 years' worth of the projects, or do you want to fund 3 years' worth of the projects? My initial intent was to be going into the bond market roughly every 3 years. But to do that, that would increase the amount of this over what we had initially thought. in the packet, there's a breakdown of the projects that we want to include on this program. If we do 2 years' worth of funding, it will be right at $10 million. If we do the full 3 years' worth of funding, it'll be $22 million. These are all projects that you've stated you support. I'm assuming we're going to do them to completion, but wanted to bring it before you to see if you had a preference on how much you want to borrow initially through the bond fund.
Now, you probably need to ponder, I would think. One of my, Rachel asked me if this was my, my no, she wasn't smart about it like that makes it sound. I just said, I just feel like interest rates will go down again, and so I hate to borrow at the point where, borrow at all at the point where we're at a high interest rate period, but what do I know, so I don't know what it will do.
Ms. Nichols, what do you think is best for us? 2 year or 3 years? Oh, sorry. What do you think is the best route?
Well, as I stated, I had planned that we would probably be borrowing money every 3 years based on the capital improvement plan that was approved back in February. So if we borrowed the first 2 years now and then rolled the third year into that next bond issue, that could make sense. If interest rates are going to be dropping, that would make sense as well to borrow less right now.
If they don't.
If they don't, I'm not a gambler. I don't go to Vegas. I don't like that stuff. So, and I don't have my crystal ball in yet. So it's ordered, but it's not here. So I'm not good at predicting what the federal government will do.
So if we borrow and we don't use it, and the interest rate drops, can we just close it and reborrow?
We don't borrow any, yes. If we do borrow, there's a 5-year minimum before you could pay it off and go again.
No, but what I mean is that if we don't use it for...
Are you saying if you don't use any of it or just partial?
No, any of...
I think
let's
we're
say
saying if we
right
don't...
now, interest rate that, I don't know what...
If we don't draw the full amount and interest rates were to go down, could we close that loan out at whatever amount we've used at that point and then reissue debt?
There's a 5-year call on it, so you would have to wait 5 years before you could refinance it.
But if we don't use it,
If you don't use it at all,
can we close it and reborrow a difference, or we're still stuck for 5 years?
if you don't use it at all, there's nothing to close because it never opened to begin with. But I believe engineering is ready to move on several of these projects.
But say you only used a portion at X interest and then interest rates went down and you had the opportunity to do a different debt issuance for a lower interest.
Stacking another one in right behind it, we could do that as well.
Just like a line of credit, or you got to borrow it all at once?
Like a line of credit,
Okay.
like a construction loan. You don't really pay any interest or any principal.
Well, you wouldn't be borrowing what you didn't need anyway, so
Correct. We have the full amounts listed here based on projections as of today. We received an email a couple of weeks ago about some new funding opportunities, grant funding, that we'll definitely be pursuing for some of these. So we hope that even if you approve it for $22 million, we won't have to borrow that much because we'll have other funding sources through grants. But right now, worst-case scenario would be the $22 million.
What the difference on interest rate between a bond and that kind of...
The interest rate for this will be slightly higher than a bond issue because our credit rating is slightly better than the credit rating on this. But again, we won't be paying any interest until we draw the money down. And that's where the savings would be seen. My intent would be to use this for the 5-year construction period and then roll it into a traditional bond issue where we would see our credit rating give us some value.
It's the cost of issuance is not as great also.
They have a fixed cost of issuance based on the dollar amount. So, I mean, if we tell them we're going to borrow 22 million, that's what we'll pay for closing costs.
Yeah.
If we're going to use it, because you said engineering want the money, if we're going to use the money, why don't we borrow what we need right now and pay less interest on the bond?
Well, that's what I would like to know from y'all. Do you want to go ahead and do the full 3-year and fund some of these projects in total? Or do you want to start with just 2 years' worth and then revisit it 2 years from now? Determine what to do with the next phase.
No, you say it's slightly higher. It's what, 1 point, half a point on the interest rate?
Until we go to market, I don't have an answer for that.
You said 3-year, didn't you?
Pardon me?
You recommended 3-year? Doing the 3-year?
No, my initial thought was 2, 3. We can go either. I can support either one. I can have an argument either way.
Is this, we borrowed money from the Fed, or who we borrowed it from?
The Tennessee Municipal Bond Fund, and they were created in the 80s, mainly to assist smaller governments who did not have borrowing capabilities. They are able to pool it. It's issued through the Clarksville Housing Authority, and the paperwork that will come through, the resolution that you will approve, states that we will be borrowing money through the Clarksville Housing Authority. That is the mechanism that's in place that allows this to occur.
It's just a line of credit. Is it an arm or a fixed rate?
This will be fixed rate because I will ask for it for 10 years. If we go over the 10 years, it becomes variable rate, and that is now considered a high-risk investment, and that has to go through the comptroller's office for approval, and we would need to update our debt policy to include that as well. So I'm going for the 10-year one that is fixed with the intent of funding it with a GO bond in 5 years.
Does this have to go through a couple of readings?
No, this will have one resolution like the
Next
GO
week?
bond did. It will have the same 20-day waiting period to allow for anyone from the public to, I've lost my words.
I
It's
guess
too
my
late at
question,
night.
does it need to be on the agenda next week? Are we in a hurry for this or what?
I was hoping to have it on the agenda
Okay.
next week, but if we can't get an answer, then
Can you put it on the agenda with a blank or a either or? I don't think anybody is real
Right.
tuned in after 4 hours of this.
I'm sure we're going to have more questions about this, and that's why I didn't know.
I can put an amendment in the packet filled out one way or the other, and we can amend it. Choose to change the amount.
Is that okay with everybody?
Well, let's still have a motion to send it forward to council so she can put it on.
Do we have to put any kind of collateral up? Is it just?
Okay.
Motion to send to council with a 2-year.
Motion by Councilman
We
Alexander.
can adjust it later.
The 2-year?
And a big hooray. Second by Councilman Carter. questions, discussion? She's going to do it as she proposed. All
Because
in
we can
favor,
amend it
say
next
aye.
week. We need to.
Opposed? Thank you. It
sorry, I
moves
was a
forward
yes.
with unanimous support. Thank you for offering a solution to get us out of this cyclone. What do you want?
I don't see you
Oh,
on the
Mayor,
agenda.
this will be quick, I promise. Just want to let this body know that the Hendersonville Fire Department has secured a grant for EMS training, and we'll be able to participate with that grant for EMT basic, EMT advanced, and paramedic classes, and the Hendersonville Fire Department will administer the grant. We're not asking for any additional money. We'll be able to support this from our operating budget.
Nice.
Don't know if that requires any motion, but thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else down there want to throw something at us? Chief, why are you still here? You got an officer back there. You should have gone home.
Talking about stuff, you gotta watch out.
I know, you're right. You're right. I appreciate you being here, truly. All of you for still being here. Sorry you have to. Okay, motion?
Motion adjourned. Second.
Motion by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Carter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Everyone have a lovely evening. Be safe. Try to be kind.
Hallelujah.